this is the Stay Flexy guy, and he's like so goddamn flexy, and it was like annoying how fucking flexy he is, and he's always flexing on me, it feels like, with how like impossible to fucking injure this guy is. And it pisses me off because he'll like purposely, yes, this guy is very Hasanabi coded. Yeah. He's like, he reminds me of a Hasanabi head. Like, I feel like I would encounter him in the wild. If I saw him in the wild, I'd be like, oh, this guy is like definitely a fan. He's not. He doesn't know who the fuck I am, I'm sure. But he just looks like the type of dude that would be in this community for sure. Just really autistic about mobility, like the most mobility autist guy. Anyway, but the point is, he's like really freaky, and he used to always like fall on his ankle on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, he used to fall on his ankle on purpose to show that he doesn't injure himself, and it pissed me off because it's like, if I did that with my 240-pound fucking body, I would literally have my bone rip through skin. You know what I mean? And but then I saw him with Juji Mufu, who is someone I do respect a lot, and he cooked him. Watch this shit, dude. This actually made me completely change my perspective. I think this guy, I mean, I've always thought that he was very good, but
check this out.
I thought that was a trick in videos that you reversed it or something.
That was actually...
By the way, Juji is like, Juji is pretty fucking stretchy for how strong he is. Do not make no mistake. You look at him and you're like, oh, this gorilla has no fucking way to stretch. No, he will outstretch you any day of the fucking week. He does like, he will smoke you on the stretch game.
Not that far. I'm impressed. Oh. You're close. Let's lower the bar so you get a feel for it. Your body.
Oh. I just feel like there's a lot of weight. Okay, well, we can start adding some weight to you with a weight vest.
Yeah, so he's like, oh yeah, bitch, let's see how well you do at my weight. Watch.
This feels nice and snug.
Let's see how much you weigh.
All right.
You are now at
183.5.
Ah!
Yeah, I could go up to 200. 201.5.
All right. It's okay, let's go. Ah, yes!
Yeah, we can go up 50. Yeah.
Shut up.
252.5.
This is like heavier than me now at this point.
Here we go. Oh, the jump is going to be harder than anything.
Oh my God! You didn't use chalk.
Should I use chalk? See if I can do it again. Yeah.
That's crazy. Have we covered the Bishop Mari Manuel? Why is this one fucking guy who keeps asking this? Like, what the fuck is the Bishop Mari Manuel? What? Stabbing of the bishop in Sydney church, a terrorist act, police say? Wait, what? I have no idea what the fuck this is. What is going on in Sydney, bro? I went to Sydney, I come back, everyone's stabbing each other. What the fuck's happening? Why is this good? Why is this flexibility important? It's not flexibility, it's actually strength. What he's demonstrating there isn't flexibility. What he's demonstrating there is actually a tremendous amount of strength. What are you talking about? He literally is showcasing that. I need you guys to understand something. Flexibility is not just about being able to like move your arm and contort your body in different ways. I'm very flexible, but also very weak in areas that matter. Why? Because I'm double jointed. Many of you who are double jointed in the chat will be able to show you that like their joints are weaker in general, which means they can pop them in and out with ease. However, that means that their joints are weaker in general, and therefore the parts of your muscles that are supposed to be more flexible are not flexible, are actually inflexible because you never activate them when you're making moves. This is how you become very injury prone. I'm very injury prone for that reason. So what I have to do all the time is, for example, I have to activate my scaps and work a lot, do wall angels and things of that nature, specifically do scap exercises so that I can develop some of these muscles that I normally never have to use because my shoulders are so mobile because of my hyperlaxivity. I don't know. But as you can see, I can just like move just my shoulders like this without moving anything else. It just means that my joints are weak. And because my joints are weak, I can move my joints a lot more, which is very dangerous for when you're working out, especially with big boy weight. When you're working out with big boy weight, you don't want your joints to be able to move so much. That's precisely why when I first started working out and I used to do bench press, my arm, my shoulder would pop out of a socket while I was bench pressing because the weight would be too much. I would start my bench press, 135, it's nothing, right? And I'd go up and boom, my shoulder would blow out of a socket like that. That would then, of course, harm a lot of the other muscles in that area because when your shoulder is fucking, when your shoulder and your rotator cuff is like moving around wildly, it starts rubbing up on shit that it's not supposed to. This is precisely how you get shoulder injuries regularly. Hassan isn't flexible. Who lied to him? I am incredibly flexible, but not flexible in the right way. Anyway, so Flexi Guy talks about this exact thing like 3 videos before Juji, which is why the Flexi Guy is actually very good. Your clip of the Australian fan Coke ran is going kind of viral on Twitter. Right-wing motherfuckers can't take a joke. Again, that's like so 2 weeks ago. Okay, as a former gymnast, you're so right. Not enough people put importance on healthy mobility. Yes. People don't get that. We saw that dodgeball game, bro. You can't gaslight us. Guns out today. Guns out every day, baby. I always keep that fucking thing on me. What do you mean? I hung out with Juji 2 weeks ago. He's an amazing person. I'm sure he is. I've been following him for years. He seems like a very nice guy. We fatigue more as well, fighting gravity all day because we fold so easy. Well, this is why we get 35-year-old engineers with the most fucked up shoulders and spines. Anyway, so that's a little brief aside. I wanted to give you guys the Stay Flexi guy is actually very smart and very good and very valuable in the exercises that he describes to you. You know, but that's besides the point. Let's get to the news, I think. Right? No, it's not Clementine. Wait, the 2 times I've dislocated my shoulder and it tore the labrum and I had to get surgery twice. How does it going out of your socket not tear the ligament? No, that's like, it just fucks stuff up there. I don't know. You motivated me to take the gym more seriously. I'm up to 465 pounds, deadlift on a hex bar. You've passed me on the hex bar, chatter. I don't think I could do 465 on the hex bar right now. But I went back to a conventional deadlift, which I love. God, I love deadlifting so much. I can't believe I fucking injured myself deadlifting early on when I first went back into working out. Do you have loose kneecaps too? I do. I do have loose kneecaps. That's why they click all the time. It's really annoying. But you can basically work against that, right? By exercising the muscles around your joints and make sure that you purposely activate them and make sure that you strengthen them and make sure that you do enough prep work when you're going to do a big lift day so that they're active, so that your muscles are just, you know, they know to fire up on particular exercises. I do a lot of shoulder work on my push days. I do a lot of shoulder work. I'll put a towel on my elbow and I'll do some pulls. I'll do some like rope pulls, things of that nature beforehand, specifically because I need to activate a lot of the different parts of my shoulders and a lot of different parts of my upper back, mid back region, so that I can properly stabilize my lifts. I also, unfortunately, cannot do flat bench press on a bar because I always end up injuring myself. So I've just given up on that. I'm doing dumbbells all day, baby. Good shit, bro. I wish I knew that years ago. Well, you also probably wish you had a subscription at the top of the hour. Here's another advice for you guys. Prep work comes in many different ways. I've already blasted off chatter that is sending me the blast off meme. Sorry. Prep work comes in many ways. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. Now, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free. So prepare against the top of the hour ad break by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. My deadlift is 625 PR last month. That's insane and disgusting, but I'm proud of you. Holy shit. I love that there is hella chatters in here that can outlift me. Not to say that my lifts are all that great. They're not. I'm not a very strong person. I'm obviously stronger than the average person, but I'm not strong for my weight, of course. However, it is very cool to see chatters outlift me and not be like Floki, who is already like a power lifter. You know what I mean? Honestly, stop doing dumbbell or barbell deadlifting if you have shitty shoulders. Move to a machine press. No, fuck no. I need that. You're wrong about that. What is your deadlift PR? No, 405 by 12 is basically what my current PR is at. I can do 4 plates for like around 12. I deadlift 350 at 285. Yeah, no, I can cook you, chatter, at 240. I'm 240 pounds. I played D1 college football and squatted for 700 pounds my senior year. That's insane. How much weight did you lose? I used to be 285 at my top, at my peak, when I was at my fattest. And now I have gotten all the way down to like 240. But the difference is when I was 285 at the peak of COVID, I was also not, I didn't have any muscle mass whatsoever. So that's another thing to consider. I was 285, but very fat with like a very high body fat percentage. Now I have a much lower body fat percentage, inching closer and closer to, 12%, not anywhere near there. I'm probably around like 16%, 17% body fat currently. But my goal is to get down to 10% body fat. Well, my short-term goal is to get down to 15, then 12, and then 10% body fat, while simultaneously, keeping up my muscle mass. That sounds miserable. No way you're 16% body fat. Wait, what do you think? You think I'm much higher than 16% body fat? Do you DEXA scan? No. Not much higher, but higher. That's why I said 16, 17, chatter. How the fuck do you calculate at least 20? No, I'm not 20% body fat any longer. But a lot of mobility training really helps with joint pain. I suffer from shoulder pain. I hit 5% for my bodybuilding show. It's miserable. I will never go sub 10. I'm too fat. While we're on the subject of weight, do you agree with me that the heaviest person in the USA should automatically be president and we can work out the politics stuff from there? Yes, and that's precisely why JB Pritzker will be president one day. Do you have a track you're eating or calculate this? Yes. There's no real perfect way to fucking calculate your body fat percentage. Obviously, when I say like I'm a thing, I'm eyeballing it for the most part. Chatters get real mad about that eyeballing and are literally trying to eyeball without seeing me shirtless, which I think is really funny. But anyone who knows what the fuck they're talking about will tell you that body fat percentage is like all of those little scans, all of those scans and shit that you do are never going to be correct. The best way to do it is by measuring water displacement and also with a measurement tape. And by looking at vascularity. A lot of that stuff also differs from person to person, obviously. I also end up having a lot of more loose skin as a consequence of like being fat my whole life. So there's that as well. So that doesn't factor into calipers is the best way, but there's not really a great way. They put calipers on like parts where your body stores fat, most likely, like the underneath your arms, this area, in between your legs, like down here, this area right here, that has a lot of fat in it. And then obviously your belly and your tire around your fupa region. And the other scientific way to do it is like by calculating water displacement and lean muscle mass. Do you take creatine? Yeah, I do. The fat tire, yeah. Without a saltwater test, which no one does, you'll never know your body fat percentage. Just going off how you look, 16 to 18% seems accurate. You can get under 50%, no problem. Yeah. No, I'm doing great. I have no issues with that. Yeah, you can do a DEXA scan. Me and Nicewig, we're going to go get one of these days. It'll probably tell me that I'm like 18, 19%, and then I'll be really sad. So I have been holding off on it, especially because Nicewig is probably down. He's like he's ahead of me. We both used to be fat, lost a lot of weight, and then gained it during COVID. And we're like around the same size as well. For the most part, we also are both weebs and play basketball. I love Nicewig. Anyway, so we're supposed to go get a body scan one of these days, but you know, it's just been, my scale says 20.4%, so we grind until we cry. Yeah, those scales suck. Most of those scales where you have to hold on to like a thing will send like little electrodes or whatever, like little electric beams through your fucking body from your hands all the way from your toes, in through one toe, out through the other leg. And that basically is supposed to like calculate the amount of water, but you can manipulate those scales. That's where I one day will be 16% body fat and the next day will be 17% body fat. Those aren't great. Those are not great at all. Those are, unironically, eyeballing it is a better, more successful way to accurately assess body fat percentage than that. But it doesn't matter. If you know, those are very, very, very inaccurate, and they can be manipulated. They're like basically the thing that you blow into at a fucking at a DUI checkpoint. Yeah. BEI has a 5 to 30% error rate. They aren't accurate, but they are reliable and consistent for developing a pattern. Yeah. You shouldn't weigh every day unless you're doing a show. Yeah, I weigh periodically. I weigh twice a week usually. One on Friday and one on Monday to assess the damage over the weekend. But yeah, I don't think you should be weighing yourself every single day. That's not very good. Can you show us your Wakandan accent again? That shit was awesome. My Wakandan accent.
Laugh at people who would suggest that Israel was the final nail in American imperialism's coffin for being too optimistic. But seeing Americans praise Iran, a country that has been demonized for as long as I've been alive and definitely longer, seeing Americans praise them for giving Israel a taste of their own medicine is giving me hope. This is a country that was labeled explicitly as an evil terrorist state. But similar to how some of us are no longer drinking the Kool-Aid about October 7th or Hamas, we're no longer taking the label terrorist seriously, especially given the context they so desperately try to obscure. Evil terrorist states destabilize democratically elected governments for their own gain of that state's natural resources.
I mean, this guy seems like he was already fucking quote unquote based before this. You know what I mean? This is not like a random guy who was like, I always thought Iran was a fucking state of terror and now I feel like they're based. Like, no, this seems like he's already like a fucking DSA Andy. You know what I mean?
Like, I know the CIA is mad as hell that 70 years worth of Islamophobic propaganda went to waste in less than a year.
Iran sucks. Remember Masa Amini? Yes, bro. It doesn't fucking matter in this equation, though. The whole point is that, like, the whole point with Iran, especially as it pertains to foreign policy, is that we are responsible for Iran being so goddamn fundamentalist, okay? Our interference is what made Iran more reactionary. Okay? That's number one. Number two, the way to deal with a reactionary Islamist fundamentalist state like the Iranian administration is not by fucking further galvanizing them and making their support more valid amongst a broader subsect of the population that would otherwise be conditioned against revolt or conditioned towards revolt. The way we have sanctioned Iran and hurt the lives of average Iranian citizens has unironically consistently emboldened the Iranian government and developed more valid anti-Western sentiment in a country like Iran. It is very frustrating that many refuse to reckon with this reality and keep going, la 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 la, can't hear you. We must keep doing the same things over and over and over again, and this time it will yield surely different results. You know, the definition of insanity. No, you don't understand. One more sanction, one more bomb, it certainly will change the attitude. It certainly will change the attitude. Okay?
Nature is healing. And I'm not even joking when I say this, because what we're going to have to do to free Palestine is going to change the world.
Hang on. Israel vows to retaliate after Iran attack. World War III watch is on.
Israel vowing to respond after Iran's attack over the weekend. The Biden administration and other world leaders are urging restraint. Matt Gutman is in Israel with the latest. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Michael. We are in southern Israel at a military base, and what you're seeing here is part of one of the 130 ballistic missiles fired by Iran at Israel. You can see shrapnel here. It was knocked out of the sky by one of those Arrow anti-missiles. This is just a section of it. Just the fuel tank up here would have been the warhead, 800 pounds of high explosives. An Israeli official telling me their anti-missile shield worked perfectly, but it was also a matter of luck that one of these didn't hit a population center, killing dozens and possibly.
Yeah, except it wasn't aimed at a fucking population center. Like, come on. How are we still doing this, big dog? Why are you... Bro, you're in Israel. This footage does not go through the military censors. You don't have to fucking lie about it. This is what I don't understand. If you were in Gaza and you were actually doing coverage from inside of Gaza, that footage has to go through military censors. You can't say correct things when you're covering things that are happening inside of Gaza because by law, by Israeli law, for those of you who don't know, the only Western journalists that are allowed to enter Gaza can only enter as embeds on Israeli troops, Israeli brigades, okay? They can only go into Gaza with Israeli troops. They are very limited in what they can show inside of Gaza because of this reason. And beyond that, all of that footage goes through Israeli censors. Now, on that front, that censorship obviously that censorship obviously is very successful. And even then, Israeli violence in the Gaza Strip is so glaringly obvious that, even the censors can't fucking stop Western journalists from being like, yeah, this is a lot of goddamn dead babies, But here, when you're talking about it, you don't have to fucking slip in and be like, Iran was trying to hit densely populated civilian areas. And it's like, well, definitely not. They definitely were not. They said they were not. And the ones that did hit, the 3 or 4 ballistic missiles that did hit a fucking military base. We all know Iran was targeting mosques. Yeah, dude. Iran was trying to hit population dense areas and also mosques.
Possibly triggering a regional war.
The Middle East on edge this morning, with Iran vowing a massive response to the slightest action from Israel, as Israel vows to retaliate for that rain of missiles.
Iran will face the consequences for its actions.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convening his war cabinet for the third.
Well, how do you know that Iran wasn't aiming at civilian targets? Because they said so. And I'm inclined to believe what they have to say in this matter. Especially considering that they, one, gave prior go-ahead and multiple fucking warnings before retaliating. And also, I think the real reason why Iran wasn't targeting civilian dense areas is because this was theater. This wasn't like an act of genuine war in general, but instead a very calculated and very limited retaliation that would be conducted in a way with American knowledge ahead of time and Israeli knowledge of the consequence of that, so that, one, they did a show of force and they demonstrated that they can fucking strike Israel, and two, they didn't kill civilians so that, like, Israel would have all of the reasoning to go back and fucking retaliate in kind and hit Iranian Iranian soil in general. Because obviously Iran doesn't want the fucking smoke either. You know what I mean? Like, that is the reality. I'm not one of those guys who's like, oh, dude, America gonna find out. Like, Iran is, the IRGC is gonna fucking destroy everybody. Like, no, nobody wants it, especially Iran, I would say, as far as regional actors goes, is definitely one of the more reasonable ones in that area. Definitely infinitely more tempered than any of these other fucking countries in the region, especially when you consider that UAE and Saudi Arabia were literally doing a genocide a couple of years prior. Iran is the only fucking country in the region that has done its fair share of domestic violence, for sure. And it has done its fair share of violence to non-Shia sects in other parts of the region. But most of the time, their military operations are conducted against like some of the more fundamentalist sects that are legitimately American enemies as well. So overall, this retaliation and the fact that they had not hit Israel or anything for that matter directly after October 8th for 6 fucking months shows restraint. The fact that they were doing this after demanding from the UN Security Council some kind of respite, some kind of legal repercussions for Israel, was actually another indication that they are engaging in some level of restraint. Now, that restraint, you could say, is because they're like wise state actors, or you could say it's out of self-preservation. I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of both, for the record. I also told you guys that I was going to serve the top of the hour ad break, and it's been 20 minutes, and I fucking forgot, so I'm running it now. Lol, what? No, you don't get it. Resistance of Axis is based in showing Israel who is boss. Lol, what? Iran is the biggest stabilizer in that region. They're equally responsible for the genocide in Yemen, dog. Yeah, you're right, dude. It was actually the fucking Western-backed coalition forces, according to literally Western intelligence, Western fucking humanitarian organizations. But you're right. It's actually Iran propping up the fucking Houthis that is the reason. They just kind of genocided themselves that way. This is the classic conundrum. If you have this attitude, I suspect that you also believe that, Gaza deserved it. Gaza deserved the ethnic cleansing. Because that is precisely the same fucking attitude to have in this situation. You are victim blaming victims of genocide in that circumstance. A ridiculous way to fucking approach the subject matter, but unfortunately all too common in the minds of Americans. Which is really funny because even American institutions like Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International don't even fucking agree with you on this front. Okay? Very strange behavior. What? Fuck Israel. I'm not victim blaming genocide. Yemen does not equal Houthis. No, you don't understand that the argument that you're presenting when you say Iran is responsible for the fucking genocide in Yemen is identical to the argument that Israelis present with respect to the genocide in the Gaza Strip. I think you're having a hard time not understanding that. Maybe you think it's not fashionable to do so, to say that about Israel, but you are doing it about Yemen right now when you say Iran is responsible for the genocide in Yemen. It's not. Saudi Arabia and the UAE and the Western coalition forces are responsible for the genocide in Yemen. That's it. What is this? What the fuck? Hassan, you're so wrong. Go to Wikipedia. What? Hassan, you're so wrong. Go to Wikipedia. Explain it then. Was just curious. I'm a long-time sub. Followed 10 minutes ago. That's such a dumb fucking emote. Matt Chatter. Oh my God. I said equally responsible, bud. How many were Houthis killing before the Saudis blockade? Did they not collab with the corrupt regime they supposedly were rebelling against? What do you mean equally responsible? There is no equal responsibility in a genocide. When there's a Saudi blockade and that number of the dead reaches an unimaginable number, the prior civil war kind of falls apart, don't you think? It's like talking about I don't know, fucking Palestinian Authority versus. It's like talking about the political dynamics between Hamas and like former PLO or whatever. When in fact, there is one galvanizing factor here, one factor that unironically brings everyone to the fray, and that factor is Israel, which is ironic because in the Yemen situation, Israel is also still the same factor that brought everybody together. Remember, victims of genocide do not have to be perfect fucking victims. Obviously, I am not in favor of like Houthi domestic policy. I have also even talked about the fact that they have cursed the Jews on their banner. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like these guys aren't anti-Semitic. Okay. I'm sure there are plenty of anti-Semites, especially in Yemen in general. This has nothing to do with that conversation when we're talking about their resistance to the Israeli genocide, resistance to and the actions that they're taking in an effort to stop the genocide in Gaza. If you don't want the bad guys to look good, don't do worse shit than them, if that makes sense. The stream titles are crazy. Bro wants a World War III so bad for the content. You're telling on yourself when you come in here and you say that kind of thing. It's pretty funny because like you don't give a shit unless shit is hitting the fan. I cover this kind of thing every goddamn day of the week. I've been covering this issue for months. You were probably on board with the whole Hassan fell off, as a matter of fact, brigade, and now you're just butthurt that you and many others like you are actually interested in this stuff once again because it has like global implications. Okay. And then you're like, well, I guess he's just like wants World War III. It's like, well, why was I still covering it relentlessly every single goddamn day, even when people weren't paying attention to it then? Why did so many people turn around and say Hassan fucking fell off if it wasn't for the fact that I was consistently still covering the ongoing ethnic cleansing campaign in Gaza? And that actually ruffled a lot of feathers in progressive circles, especially in the Western world. NATO Andes decided to be kind of freaks about it. So what's up? I feel like so much of your haters came back after this Iran attack and were like, damn, damn, this guy's views actually haven't changed. Yeah. Interesting how it always comes back to history will absolve me. Yeah, but a lot of people refuse to recognize that history has absolved me time and time again. It don't matter though. All right, let's continue.
Day to discuss a response to that unprecedented barrage of more than 300 missiles and drones early Sunday.
We saw a response, multi-layered, multinational, against that would
this guy's my favorite.
ring of
Against
fire that
that.
Iran intended on enduring and putting on Israel. We stopped that.
The coordinated response from a U.S.-led coalition, including Britain and France, thwarting the attack, the IDF saying 99% of those incoming threats intercepted. An Israeli official telling ABC News Iran actually increased the number of ballistic missiles it would fire once it learned of the scope of the U.S.-led coalition against it.
They knew that many were going to be defeated, but the aim was to get as many of them through Israel's defenses as possible.
And for the 12 minutes it took,
I do find it very funny that these guys always have this like very inconsistent narrative that they're like, oh, they failed big time, right? They failed big time. What a massive failure, right? What a massive fucking failure this was for Iran. Also, simultaneously, they also admit that like Iran openly stated what they were going to do. And it's pretty funny to say both of those things at the same time. It's like, so what's the argument here? That they're really stupid, so they informed everybody ahead of time, thinking that like a lot of the missiles would not get thwarted. Like, what the fuck were they? It's like, oh, what were these guys thinking? They waited 2 weeks, informed the UN Security Council that if they don't do something, they are going to. If the UN Security Council doesn't actually bring Israel to justice for its escalation, then they're going to retaliate in kind, and then openly stated that they were going to retaliate in 72 hours by telling all the fucking regional actors, including the mediator that America was using, Turkey, the NATO country, Turkey. So stupid of them to let us know ahead of time. Look at how dumb these guys are. It's a funny way to do propaganda by the likes of John Kirby, but obviously, the message has been heard by the reasonable actors within the State Department who are at least a little bit more pragmatic and not throating Israel in the same way that like Joe Brandon is. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Because that's why you got generals talking about. That's why you had fucking General Spiderfucker going on CNN and being like, John Bolton should not be anywhere near the conversation about Iran. He is a psychopath. He said, wait, what were the words that he said? Spider rapist goes on fucking CNN and literally says, I thank God every morning I wake up that John Bolton is removed from power. Because if he was anywhere near power with this Iran shit, we would be in like nuclear Holocaust territory. Don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely diametrically opposed to the Ayatollah regime in Iran, but Israel bombing a consulate is just not done. Absolutely insanity how we're supporting Israel and instead of sanctioning them. Wait, that's so funny. This guy, why are people yelling at that guy? He's in agreement. Yeah, they're simultaneously incompetent and also extremely dangerous and calculated is such a funny fucking attitude to have. No, they are definitely infinitely more restrained, partially out of self-preservation, and everybody understood that they had to fucking retaliate because if they don't, Israel's not going to stop. They just keep showing the rest of the regional actors that they have no interest in stopping whatsoever. Okay? They keep telling America, suck my dick over and over again. Everyone sees that shit. What are they supposed to think? When you hit a fucking embassy, why wouldn't they think you're going to hit Iranian soil the next day? Israel has also shown every fucking regional actor for the past at least 30 years, okay? At least for the past 30 years, that the only way you can stop Israel is with force. That's it. They abuse diplomacy. They've abused diplomacy against the Palestinians over and over again. If you have shown yourself as a weak enemy, they will pummel you. They will pounce on you. Hilarious shit. All my Zionist friends are showing the video of the crazy Iranian Zionist lady that you showed on stream yesterday. Yes, they love her. Of course they do, because she's attractive. She's brown enough. You know what I mean? And she's dick riding Israel and saying that this is the Iranian perspective. Why wouldn't they fucking go after that? None of that changes the actual rational discourse on the matter. Isn't Bibi the main problem? What percentage of Israelis back the bombings? Brother, you are about to find out that it's a massive, massive percentage of Israelis that want the bombing to continue. Yeah. Now, it doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter, because what Israelis want doesn't really matter in this process. What Israelis want doesn't really matter. What we are willing to allow them to do is what matters. We, as in America. That's the issue here. That's why I've been so fucking critical of the Biden administration since October 8th for not doing what is smart, even from a pro-American imperialism perspective. The fact that there is internal contradictions, the fact that there is internal struggle in the U.S. State Department since October 8th is only further reaffirming my commitment to this cause. There are literally State Department actors who are saying we have to restrain Israel because they are destabilizing too much. They are destabilizing too much. Then they're making us look bad to our allies. They're making us look bad to our adversaries. They're making us look weak. Us, the United States of America. They are ruining our soft power capabilities. If we cannot stop our attack dog in the region from going above and fucking beyond and doing genocide to a population. We don't give a fuck about the population, by the way. We don't care about the Palestinian lives. We only care about American interests. Israel going above and beyond is literally fucking up American interests, and many people in the State Department see that reality. That is precisely why there are plenty of people in the State Department that are begging the Biden administration to do restraint, maybe for the wrong reasons, but it's still, they're like, dude, in the interest of the preservation of the Israeli apartheid, we have to stop them. Meanwhile, the Israeli population is obviously very excited at the prospect of full-blown ethnic cleansing. They have packaged that up perfectly. They don't see the actual violence on the ground. And even if they did, I'm not so sure that they would be on board. I'm not so sure that they wouldn't be on board with it. And beyond that, they think this is being reframed and being repackaged as we're fighting Hamas. We're fighting Hamas. We're fighting Hamas terror babies. So unfortunately, major percentages, especially in the Jewish Israeli population, are very much in support of the bombing and want this to continue. There are obviously people who are criticizing Netanyahu and protesting Netanyahu. They still want the bombing to continue, mind you. They just want it to stop for now so we get the fucking hostages out. I think most Israelis just want the hostages back. Most Israelis don't want a war with Iran, though. I don't know if most Israelis don't want a war with Iran. They probably don't. But they do definitely want the hostages back. A lot of Israelis want the hostages back, and then they want the bombing to continue.
Took for those missiles to arc from Iran to Israel, American and Israeli officials unsure if their missile net would hold. It did. A senior Israeli Air Force official telling ABC News multiple Middle Eastern countries provided Israel with an early warning, and Israel's Arrow aerial defense system taking down ballistic missiles seen streaming over Jerusalem. The IDF saying this new video shows Israeli troops pulling one of those bus-sized ballistic missiles.
You don't think there's Palestinians who want attacks on Israel to continue too, though? Bro, of course Palestinians want Israel to be fucking pummeled into the ground. What would you think? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that a population that was being fucking genocided is literally on board with the genocidaires being bombed by another fucking country. Oh, wow. I guess that gives them more, I guess that gives Israel more reason to continue pummeling Gaza. What the fuck? How is that even any part of this conversation? If you ask the Jews during the fucking Holocaust what to do with Nazi Germany, I'm sure they would have the same exact approach. As a matter of fact, guess what? I don't need to actually speculate on this. I know for a fact from at least Norm Finkelstein's parents who were in the Warsaw Ghetto and were a part of the resistance in the Warsaw Ghetto, as a matter of fact. Okay? Yes, dude. What a ridiculous attitude. Yeah. Wow. Well, some of the Palestinians are probably really fucking excited at the prospect of Iran bombing Israel. Yeah, of course they are. Because from their perspective, it's like maybe the drone activity is softening a little bit in Gaza because Israel is a little bit more worried about defending themselves now. Oh, they got a little respite from the bombing, from the endless ethnic cleansing that they have withstood for the past 6 months. That's crazy. Yeah. It's kind of, yeah, it's a funny approach to have to this matter. Stop with the clickbait title, dude. We are nowhere near needing to worry about World War III. Oh my God. I assume these are the new Bonercelli fans coming in here to be like, you're wrong. You're actually fantasizing about World War III. No, I'm simply stating that if Israel retaliates against Iran, depending on how Israel retaliates in the upcoming days, then a much broader conflict will occur. If they are restrained, it will not. That's it.
Missiles out of the Dead Sea. President Biden saying the U.S. is committed to the safety of troops in the region and to Israel's security, but the administration making it clear that the U.S. will not participate in any Israeli counterstrike. Iran says its attack avenged Israel's strike earlier this month that killed 2 top generals at a consulate complex in Syria.
And Israeli officials tell me that the most likely Israeli...
Yeah, they had a moment about the most recent video title, like Dia's never done clickbait. That's such a funny fucking thing to get mad about. Yeah. I'm sorry that in between your kick streams talking to fucking pedophiles or whatever, you decided to take a brief moment of respite to be like, yeah, I know I've been defending genocide unconditionally for the past fucking 6 months, and I've gotten literally bullied for this position finally by someone who is infinitely more knowledgeable than me in broad daylight so that everyone can know how much of a fucking charlatan I am and simply a contrarian mercenary when it comes to debate. I was intellectually outpaced by people who are infinitely more knowledgeable than me. But guess what? This guy said World War III might happen. In a situation where World War III might actually happen, as a matter of fact. I didn't watch the actual video. I didn't even read the subtitle of the fucking video, but I've made my mind up. Every guy saying that you said you were a terrorist supporter for interviewing the Yemeni TikToker. Yeah, I don't give a shit about what these Nazi scumbag fucks have to say. Okay? They see brown kid, they go, that's a terrorist.
Retaliation will be clandestine, possibly a cyber attack or a targeted strike against an Iranian official in Iran. But those officials say that a key consideration will be preserved.
Hassan, you say a lot without actually saying anything. You literally just did that. You did that just now. You literally just did that. So many of you dumb fucks want to come across like you're so smart and so worldly, and you fail to demonstrate demonstrate even a modicum of knowledge in any of these fucking issues that you talk about, which is why you just fling. Watching a spawn spiral out of control is going to be hilarious. Yeah, I'm spiraling completely out of control. You're right. I've fallen off, and I've also spiraled completely out of control. You guys got it. Again, flinging desperately at aesthetics. Oh, the vibes are bad. Oh, well, there's a genocide, but I think you're like too angry about it. Rats, all of you.
Serving this defensive coalition that the U.S. built to protect Israel. Michael.
All right, Matt, thank you so much for that. The attack by Iran has Congress scrambling to pass aid for Israel and possibly Ukraine. Our senior congressional correspondent Rachel Scott is on Capitol Hill with the latest for us this morning. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, Michael, good morning to you. And this is a risky move for House Speaker Mike Johnson. For months, he has avoided saying how he plans to address aid for Israel, Ukraine.
Look at these guys, bro. Oh, they are scrambling, brother. Imagine supporting Palestine. Lamau, what a fucking clown. Oh, man. Oh, no. Oh, no, dude. Oh, it's so sad that the numbers that you have of Israel supporters are dwindling every fucking day as the rest of the world recognizes that Israel is committing a genocide. So you have no argument. So you go, imagine supporting Palestine.
And Taiwan. Now under growing pressure, he is unveiling his plan for the first time, but it is a complicated one. The Speaker of the House said that the House will not vote on the Senate's bipartisan foreign aid package that wrapped aid for Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan all into one. Instead, Johnson plans to break that package up and bring 4 separate bills to the floor for a vote, one for each issue, and then a final bill that's really shaping up to be a Republican wish list with conservative policy wins. Johnson knows he has a razor-thin majority. He's trying to satisfy all different wings of his party so that he can keep the Speaker's gavel. Sources tell me that Speaker Johnson did speak to President Biden by phone before unveiling this.
Yes, I'll be speaking on the Trump trial in a second after we're done here.
Package to Republicans behind closed doors just yesterday, but it's unclear if Democrats are going to go along with any of this. Either way, Johnson says those votes will be happening this week, Michael.
All right, we know you'll be covering that for us. And, you know, the House moved to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. And today, those articles are going to be handed over to the Senate.
Yeah, exactly, Michael. The House voted to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over his handling of the border. He was the first cabinet secretary in 150 years to be impeached. So today, those articles will be transferred over to the Senate. Democrats pointing out there is no evidence of high crimes and misdemeanors, which is why they are expected to quickly dismiss these charges, Michael.
All right, Rachel Scott, thank you as always.
Hey, welcome to the Daily Show. My name is Jon Stewart. Unbelievable show.
Jon Stewart on Iran, Israel, and Trump's hush money trial. White supremacists. Lamau, okay, buddy, keep pulling those Palestine scumbags. Lamau, but you support BLM also, Lamau. Bro, why does Destiny have so many fucking right-wing charlatans in his fan base that come in here? No, I'm not going to ban him. It's just so odd. How did that happen? I thought he was such a progressive. I thought he was such a liberal. And yet his fans, who literally talk exactly like him, are just always in here just spouting some of the dumbest fucking right-wing takes. How did that happen? It's just shocking to me. But I do get excited at the prospect of having hogs in here again. We can rehabilitate them. Yeah, I don't really care. It's fun, to be honest. My favorite type of chatter is the people that say, I'm actually laughing my ass off right now while they're fucking seething so openly in the chat. I'm literally lamowing, dude. I'm lamowing so fucking hard. I'm lamowing like no one has ever lamowed before. What does center left mean on Israel Palestine? He's been openly critical of Israel in mainstream media for many, many years at a time when it was like completely unacceptable to do so. It was unimaginable. And even now he is even now he takes a relatively stronger stance against Israel. I'll just say it like this. I measure and I grade on a curve, I guess. Like I measure mainstream media outlets with a very different metric because I think about the audiences that they have and the audiences that they want to maintain, but more importantly, the audiences they speak to. Like Jon Stewart is not going to come out and be like, praise be to Allah and the Iranian revolutionary forces for striking the Zionist entity at its heart and striking fear in the heart of the Zionist entity. Like he's not going to fucking say shit like that. You know what I mean? He's not, I wouldn't even say, not necessarily a liberal Zionist, but he's a two-stater who's critical of Israel's policy, but doesn't stray super far on systemic analysis. Yeah, he's just, it's good. His especially considering that he has such a broad audience of like a lot of mainstream liberals that listen to him and that care what he has to say. I'm happy about most of his coverage. No, I would say that Ethan, in some respects, is more to the left than Jon Stewart, and in other respects is more to the right of Jon Stewart in a weird way, because I think Ethan also recognizes that Israel is an apartheid, but he simultaneously hyper focuses on a lot more of the Palestinian side of the conversation in a negative way than Jon Stewart does. No, he does. I don't know why people fucking always bring up Ethan. Oh my God. If you think that if you think that Jon Stewart is good on this issue, and then why does chat talk about Ethan like he's Tim Pool? Exactly. If you think that Ethan Klein is like is bad, but Jon Stewart is good, it's because you have seen some of the people that have been in Ethan's crosshairs, including people that you like, including Morgan, and that's precisely the reason why you get extra mad, which I think is a misstep on his end for sure. But overall, his perspective and his criticism of Israel, despite his connection to Israel, is more hardened than Jon Stewart, in my opinion, and yet he still recognizes that it is an apartheid. So in a way, I've never heard Jon Stewart say that, and I like Jon Stewart's analysis, especially given the audience that he speaks to. But I think that there's a lot of cognitive biases and a lot of hangups that you can't overcome, especially when you're that close. It was better than Lincoln. This was the greatest. Okay, people act like Donald Trump ain't shit, bro. Okay, this is poetry in motion. You're watching the GOAT. You're watching the GOAT do what the GOAT does best, okay? There you happening. Chatters are hella bored today, huh? We got so many motherfuckers. Being pro-Pally is a trend. You are all Nazis. What is going on today? What's happening? Where are these guys crawling out of? A lot of fucking rats in here. Jesus. Where are they coming from? We haven't gotten this level of like fucking weirdos in here for a minute. Oh, maybe it's because Iran attacked Israel and Israel is small bean again. Is that what it is? They think that like people forgot about the past 6 months of Israel doing ethnic cleansing to the Palestinians, because it was like really hard to defend that without getting fucking ritualistically humiliated and bullied by like even Normans at this point. Once you lose the uncles, dude, and the 7 aid workers that were killed, the 7 white, 6 of them were white aid workers that were killed, and you lost the uncles, you kind of needed like a desperate attempt to like reframe the narrative around how Israel is still a small bean. No, it's because you won Anti-Semite of the Week. Bro, we looked at that website more than any normal person. Nobody fucking... Nobody actually gives a shit. Oh, did they tweet about it or something? Is that what it is? April 14th? No, that's from 2 days ago, man. No, it's not that. Did gaming bring in new viewers who don't know anything about you? No. Oh yeah, everyone wants to let everyone know that they aren't against Israel or anti-Semitic. Wait, what? Yeah, I didn't win Anti-Semite of the Week. We won Anti-Semite of the Week. You don't read Anti-Semite Weekly? Yeah. You're trending on Twitter probably? I don't know. I don't fucking go on Twitter unless it's to post. And I rarely ever look at Twitter nowadays because I'm not on the... Now I don't have it on my phone. So it's been a little too good on my mental health. I'm going to be honest. We need to fucking bring me down a couple pegs. Especially when I'm outside living La Vida Loca. Shit's been popping. So I don't know. Yeah. Did they hand out a trophy with that award? Yeah, I don't know. No, please, you might stop gaming. Wait, what? No. How many gifted to hit it from the back raw? Time sensitive question. What do you mean? Like you want me to hit you from the bag raw? It's not going to happen. It's time sensitive because at the top of the hour there is a 3-minute ad break though, and I think that's probably what the chatter was trying to say. You know what I mean? Because that is true. That is what's going on. At the top of the hour there's a 3-minute ad break, which is as close to anti-Semitism as you're going to get. If you're a Jewish chatter in here and you're not subscribed, you're probably going to have to see the 3-minute ad break. So that's probably why they made me Anti-Semite of the Week. Start blackmailing gray names. Be nicer to me. Well, no. You're a disgusting himbo. I am a disgusting himbo. It's true. Did you see the Israeli ad on YouTube claiming they were protecting Al-Aqsa from Iran's attack? Yeah, I love that. That's true. Israel is the true defenders of Islam. Famously. Anyway, here's the 3-minute ad break now. Okay, I'm skipping this part. I don't care about those bits. I'm sorry, no disrespect to Ronnie Chang or whatever, but like I always think that like those bits are so overcooked. Ask the lurking writer to put the old man shade trees along in so we can confirm. Yes, if the writers are in here, dude. Remember your Trump Mandela lock? Yeah, Nelson Mandela of white people is right. Exactly. And you know he would say that. You know his ass would say that. He'd be like, I'm just like Nelson Mandela, but he was bad. I'm good. He is Nelson Mandela. He's just right. I mean, when he says that, I think he's correct. Breaking, the first 6 jurors have been chosen. Oh my God, I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they did that. So they asked him 40 questions. They had to fill 40 questions. Do I believe personally that every single juror on that fucking questionnaire lied? Every single one? That's a lock. They did. There is no way that if I was given the opportunity to be a fucking juror on a Trump hush money trial, that obviously is not going to lock him in jail or anything, but if I had the opportunity to be a part of that, I would be lying my fucking ass off to try to be like, I don't know politics at all. Who is this Trump guy? Are you talking about the real estate mogul who had that TV show? What did he do? I am so impartial. I'm the most impartial. Couldn't find me 1,000 miles around any kind of radical politics. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'd be like, that's the steak guy, right? You just say one thing. You say, I only listen to Lex Fridman. Then they know you are the most center. You are the most centrist man on the planet. I am Lex Fridman. The most mathematically centrist person on the planet. There was actually a caveat in the juror selection. You had to be racist against white people is true. No.
Begin with a very busy start to former President Donald Trump's historic criminal trial right here in New York City. Now, Donald Trump was mostly quiet during the proceedings. That's in contrast to recent comments on social media and elsewhere that have gotten him into a little bit of trouble. The former president faces 34 felony counts related to alleged hush money payments to cover up an affair. Now, he denies all of this. Robert Costa was in the courthouse, and we're glad to say that this morning, Bob is in the studio with us. Good morning to you.
Good morning. On day one of his historic criminal trial, former President Trump lashed out at the New York judge who is requiring him to be there every day court is in session, potentially for 8 weeks. And so far, not one juror has been chosen.
Donald Trump was defiant Monday as he became the first former president to face criminal charges.
We're not going to be given a fair trial.
During the proceedings, Trump appeared irritated at times and bored at others, even appearing to nod off at one point, but perked up as potential jurors entered the courtroom. Out of the first batch of 96 prospective jurors who were sworn in and questioned, more than half were excused, many after saying they could not be fair and impartial. Trump is accused of scheming to funnel payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels through his former lawyer Michael Cohen, in what prosecutors say was an attempt to stop an alleged past affair from becoming a scandal just before the 2016 presidential election. Trump has denied both the affair and making the payments.
Mr. President, did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
Lies. Dude, it is such a funny situation to be in. Like, sure, the punishment is not that severe in general, okay? But like, it is such an obvious open and shut case in general, considering that your lawyer already was sentenced to prison for it. Like, the main guy who is now the star witness against you in the court proceedings literally already served a prison sentence. What the fuck are we talking about? The fact that people are still confused about this, where they're like, oh, well, it's fucking bullshit, like blah, blah, blah. Like, sure, you can say that it's like minor. And this is the most like meaningless, I guess, case, because the other ones are genuinely much more meaningful. Okay. Hold on. I have to do something here real quick. But I mean, he literally went like, dude. Oh, baby, don't lie to me. If I tell you my story, don't cry for me. This man, Michael Cohen, the podcast host, former Trump lawyer, with the greatest intro song for his podcast of all time. Friend of the show. I have been a guest on his podcast, for those of you who don't know. This man is the star witness on the trial. You Gopnik raid. Thank you for the raid, brother. Hope you had a good stream. Anyway, but yeah, that guy is the star witness in this fucking case. Like, what are we doing? What are we talking about? That's your lawyer. You paid him to pay Stormy Daniels hush money. Okay. Now, the only way out of this in a former proceeding similar to this one, a mismanagement of campaign funds, the only way out of this, at least from one angle, would be to say that you are actually doing this because you wanted to hide the truth from your wife. It wasn't about hiding the truth from the public, because the public would have actually found out and would have gotten mad. But instead, you were like, you were just trying to simply hide the fact that you paid a porn star hush money from your wife. But that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense because, like, why the fuck, like, just paying hush money alone is one thing, but, like, showing that as legal retainer instead of showing that as a legal fee, instead of just, like, showing that as hush money is a way to try to shelter the truth from the public, specifically because it's not like your fucking wife is going to look through your books. You know what I mean? Like, is that the argument that, like, Melania was going to look through your fucking accounting and find out that you paid Michael Cohen this, like, weird amount of money at this certain date? Like, it's just dumb as fuck. What happened to the election interference case that was going against him? What happened to that? Genuinely feel like nothing's going to happen to him and it will only make him more popular. The election interference case, the federal one, is still ongoing. I mean, it's slated to happen, and so is the Georgia case. But obviously, when you're very fucking rich, or at least like have enough people that will offer legal counsel to you because you're the former president for political reasons or because of, you know, clout-related reasons, it doesn't really matter. You can hold that shit up as much as you possibly can.
The trial is likely to feature testimony from key witnesses, including Cohen and Daniels, along with former...
Yeah, he also delayed the payment until after the election because he's such a nickel and dimer, because he thought he wouldn't have to pay after the election because he wouldn't give a shit about, like, people knowing that he fucked a porn star post-election. So it directly, on two different fronts, implies that he was mismanaging campaign funds, and also on top of that, doing this as a way to, like, shelter the truth. I mean, as a way to, like, hide the truth in the public. But again, the legal repercussions for such a thing are minor. It's only elevated to a felony partially due to Donald Trump himself, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. I mean, I think there's, like, some about state law. Wait, hold on. But
White House aide Hope Hicks. Last week, the former president slammed Cohen and Daniels on social media, calling them sleazebags. Attorneys with the Manhattan DA's office asked the judge to hold the former president in contempt for violating a gag order. A hearing on that will be held later this month.
It's a scam. It's a political witch hunt.
Throughout the day, Trump sent out a blizzard of fundraising appeals blasting the case and criticized the judge for not allowing him to attend a U.S. Supreme Court hearing next week on his presidential immunity claims.
He thinks he's superior, I guess, to the Supreme Court. We got a real problem with this judge.
CBS News legal analyst Ricky Kleeman joins us now at the table. Glad you're both here. Bob stays with us as well. Ricky, so this is the first of, I believe, 4 different criminal trials of the former president is facing. Why is this one in particular so significant?
It's significant because it's first. It's significant.
They want all Republicans for jurors? Yeah, that's the only way we can have a impartial jury. How come every judge we have a problem with? Yeah, I mean, everybody knows all the judges are woke. Even the Trump-appointed judges at the federal courts that allowed the investigation into the mismanagement of mishandling of classified documents. There's not a single judge in the goddamn nation that isn't anti-Trump, dude. It's so fucked up.
And it is a solemn day in court when you put a former president, let alone one who is running for office again, on trial. Everything about this has to be taken seriously. And if he is convicted, you must face the fact that there are people out there who will take this conviction seriously in Bob's world when they go to the polls.
Should we point out that this is not normal? You know, Donald Trump always says it's a witch hunt, everyone's against him, that it's unprecedented, but also his behavior for a lot of people is unprecedented. This is just not normal what we're living. After a while, I worry that the audience just hears white noise where they hear all of these cases running together.
They may, but this is the first one that actually is going forward, so the attention will be on this one. But no, it is not normal. Nothing about this follows legal norms in a courtroom. It may happen this time because Judge Merchan is strict and he is going to run a courtroom the way it should be run. But 34 felonies for business records, not normal.
Bob, Trump has already been accused of violating the judge's gag order, which bars him from making public statements about witnesses. How does this affect his ability to rally his base?
So the gag order allows Trump to talk about the judge in this case. It allows him to talk about the district attorney, just not witnesses. But it's clear that former President Trump is testing the bounds of what he's able to say as not only the defendant in this case, but as Ricky said, a candidate for federal office running for the presidency. And he's also trying to show his people that he's fighting the political establishment, the legal establishment. One time I reported about a story. Hope Hicks talked to Trump after the 2020 election. She said, why can't you just give up the fight? He said, my people, they demand I fight.
He acts like it's on behalf of the people. There were reports that he seemed to be falling asleep in court yesterday. Was he bored?
Whatever he was doing, he was closing his eyes, dipping his chin. Some there say he was sleeping, others say he was being performative. Whatever it was Trump, and he was showing he was dismissive of the proceedings.
Just resting his eyes for a moment.
Well, there's an adrenaline factor there, too. I mean, when you have a lot of stress and you are a criminal defendant who is potentially facing 4 years prison time, it gets to you that this is serious. And as you come in wrapped up tight,
fucking haters, bro. He's just EP. He's just a EP boy. He's just a EP fucking boy, okay? What can a man do when a miscarriage of justice is happening in a country that he loves so much, that he's given his all to? What can a man do but close his eyes and dream of a better tomorrow, a better future where America isn't a banana republic, engaging in a real criminal trial, but the people who should be put on that stand are actually the Democrats themselves. Also, it's probably boring as fuck. I mean, yeah, he's an 11-year-old child. He's tired. When you're always on uppers, but then you're not, you do realize what will happen if he wins. He will go after everybody, and only God can help us then. Do you support a father to miss his son's graduation because of a trial? I mean, come on. Is one day surely we could show respect to each other about these kinds of things? What are you saying? Donald Trump does not give a fuck about his son, dude. And also, that's not how criminal trials work, bro. What the fuck are you talking about? I can't... Dude, there is no way that this 80-year-old demon gives a single shred of a fuck about any of his children. You are so... Oh, how can... I wish I could, like, for one day, just for one day, be able to take a pill and be this silly. Okay? He likes his tall son, Barron, sure, but, like, even then, he doesn't give a shit. Come on, dude. I'm sorry. Guys. I just, for one day, I want to be able to believe. Like, I want to feel the way that a fucking dude smoking on that MAGA crack feels like. For one day, I feel like it'd be so much fun. Like, if I could just, like, you know, just for one day, 24 hours, you're in and out. It probably feels great. You get scared a lot, right? You get scared of big cities all of a sudden. But I feel like it'd be a lot of fun. Barron could be the white Wemby, but the woke mob is holding him back. It's the racism demonstrated by the NBA, honestly. Everybody knows NBA is pro-China and anti-white racist. That's the real reason why Barron is not prospering.
you have moments where your adrenaline goes down.
I'm sure that's true.
It's going to be tough to get a jury, don't you think? I heard reports of jurors saying, I don't want to do this.
Well, Biden
Can't
won
go
like
through this.
85, 86% of the potential voters in the jury pool area. So, I mean, like, it's very blue area is my point. Can they get a fair jury?
We have to decide what's fair. What it means is who is the least partial. And here, one of the smart things the judge did was he basically said, raise your hand and you may leave if you think you cannot be fair and impartial. That probably took days off of jury selection just by getting rid of those people. What I say, very important, watch out for the stealth juror, the juror who answers everything perfectly because he or she wants to be on that jury and vote the way that he or she does not appear that they will
Such
vote.
a veteran of these things. I love that kind of detail. Yeah.
And watch for a venue change push. Sources close to Trump's legal team tell me they're going to try to get this case out of New York, saying they can't get a fair hearing.
And they should do it every single day. When you have 50% of the people who say they can't be fair, move for a change of venue.
And that number, by the way, is 87% voted for Joe Biden among the population that is the jury pool being drawn from. It's a big number.
Speaking of Joe Biden, you might not be able to use that Sleepy Joe diss if it's true that he fell asleep in court. Ricky and Bob, thank you both very much. Appreciate it.
We have one of the jurors who has now been dismissed. She arrived at jury duty.
I didn't realize the media was trying to do the actually Trump is the sleepy one narrative with this whole like he was EP in court. That's awesome. I genuinely did not realize that was like the ulterior motive here. That makes sense. That's cool. Yeah, people definitely when people say like sleepy Joe Biden, they mean like he actually is honk shoeing and memeing and not because he's like his brain capacity is deteriorated very publicly. That's what they meant literally.
Just yesterday was dismissed today. Her name is Kara McGee. I want to turn to her right now. Kara, thank you for joining us. Everyone is so eager to understand what it was like to even be called for jury duty today. When did you realize that this was the Trump trial?
So definitely not when I first got the jury letter. That was kind of the standard open your mailbox like, oh, I have to take off work in 2 weeks. So when I texted my mom and said, oh, I got jury duty, and she said, starting what day? And I said, April 15th, tax day. And she said, I think that's when the Trump trial starts. So I was wondering if I would be on that or on some other case at the same time, you know, in the building, because I assume there's a lot more.
Shocker. Neither Fox News nor Fox Business has mentioned reports of Trump falling asleep in court today. Yeah, because who gives a fuck? Like, what do you mean? What? Wow, I can't believe they didn't cover that. It really shows bias, which they are, obviously, but like this is the funniest way to complain about bias.
Going on. And then yesterday when I got here and we were put into a jury holding room, and it seemed like there were 500-ish people waiting to get put into two separate holding rooms. I had the thought of like, this is probably Trump because I don't think they'd call quite this many jurors for anything else. So what?
They fully would have ran a breaking news if Biden did that shit, but no, like it's dumb. Yeah, of course they would have because they're biased and everyone knows that. The photos in this tweet kill me. Like they're trying to make him look hot. A father not being able to attend his son's graduation is heartless and evil. This is beyond unfair and unjust. What's your reaction to the judge's actions today? Dude, there's nothing funnier than like every guy who's behind on child support payments complaining about Trump not being able to attend his tall son's graduation today. The graduation is in May, by the way. Oh, wait. That's what I thought that was weird that he said that. So his son's not even fucking graduating yet? That makes it so much funnier. Every guy who's behind on child support payments is complaining about Trump not being able to attend his tall son's graduation. Even though it's like months from now. And he likely would be able to attend. He likely could still attend, even though it's a month from now, and he likely still could attend. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do this. 34 MKD 50. God damn. God damn. In the middle of the hour ad break timing, too. Look at that. This guy's out of control. If you're watching Rosebud, love you. I hope you're well. Oh my God. Sheltered Rosebud. What are they up to? Some court sketches are subpar. This one, though, is perfect. Oh, dude, he looks so evil. That's awesome. Still got 5 more days of their 211-week ban. When will Sheltered Rosebud be unbanned? I gave him 7 days off, but I don't remember when I gave him the 7 days off. When is the televised trial? The unfortunate problem with the televised trial is that it's up to the Georgia judge right now. Oh, poor millionaire, billionaire. I don't think he should even get a trial. Just string him and all his co-conspirators up and I'd be happy. Of course, I'm a radical left commie bastard. Joking, sort of. Send Lolo as a channel correspondent. Would it being televised help or hurt him? Both. I will not elaborate. No, I'm kidding. It does. It helps him because he's on camera. And his fans love seeing like crumbs. You know what I mean? His stands need Trump crumbs, Trumpy crumbs. But it actually is, I will elaborate. It actually is hurting him as well because the broadest majorities are worried about him being corrupt, are worried about him being like undemocratic. So every moment that you remember that he is like doing crimes, and there is nothing more reminiscent of you doing crimes than you being in a courtroom in a televised trial, is a moment that like so many of these people who are older voters in the suburbs who are just like, oh, I would vote for Trump, but I hate the aesthetics. Like those guys are reminded once again as to why they hate Trump. Does that make sense? And I think it is a net negative in general. Like his stands are going to be excited that there are crumbs out here. You know what I mean? That there are crumbs out here for the Trump stands, for the Trump heads. But the people that have a lot of distaste for his like aesthetics will be reminded once again that he's just like a bad dude. He's bad for business.
What was everyone doing when they realized, like you at that point, that you were likely a part of the Trump jury trial pool of people? Were people talking amongst themselves? Was there kind of a buzz in the air?
You could feel that people were starting to realize it, but people weren't talking amongst themselves nearly as much as I expected. Weirdly enough, I think everyone had a sense of kind of uncertainty over what the protocols were in this situation, and so no one really felt like they should mention it. I'm sure.
Bro, I'm sorry if I'm Trump's defense attorney, the one look at her and I'm like, nope. Like one look at her and I'm like, abso-fucking-lutely not. Okay, this person 100% cares about abortion. There's no shot I'm letting her anywhere near that fucking jury stand, dude. She's not sitting there. No shot.
Sure, there were some jurors who just didn't know that this was happening right now or didn't realize that this was what they were called for. You could definitely see people kind of looking around like, do other people also get the sense that this is, but not really talking about it.
When you walked in the courtroom and you saw him, is that when you first learned that for sure this was the Trump trial? And how did it feel to see him?
So in the initial jury holding room, one of the, I guess, employees of the court had mentioned something about it being an unusual day. And I kind of wondered, like, does that mean we're definitely on this case or just because this case is also in the building? So yeah, it was when we walked into the courtroom and saw him, that it was that I was sure that it was definitely this case.
Did he make eye contact with you?
Yes. Yeah.
What was that like?
Odd. It's you know.
He was staring you down to be like, get her out. Get that woman out of here. I already know she listens to NPR and has 2 cats. Okay? No fucking shot. Get her out of here. 1, she has ovaries. Okay? Big mistake. Nobody with ovaries comes anywhere near, especially in the state of New York. We cannot have a single person with ovaries on that fucking jury. On that jury. You cannot have that. You can't be doing that. Don't call us 2 cat owners out like that.
Oh, it's someone who you've seen as this larger than life public figure for a decade or so at this point. And for people who have followed his business career, I'm sure longer than that. I didn't, but and then you get in there and it's fascinating because you get these 2 very contrasting kind of senses at the same time, which is on the one hand, it's this very like massive sense of gravitas and importance because you know that this is history in the making, and whatever the outcome of this is, everything going forward will be affected by it. And at the same time, you walk into the courtroom and you see Trump sitting there. I had never seen him in person before. You see him sitting there and it's like, oh, it's just a guy. He's just a dude.
Why were you dismissed?
I was dismissed because, so in the jury questionnaire that you answer the questions to out loud, sorry, this is slowing up. There's one question at the end that says, is there anything else that might affect your ability to serve that you haven't mentioned other than all of the questions that they ask? And I said the nature of my job would make it very difficult for me to be here from 9 to 5 for at least 6 weeks and probably longer. It's not really something that I can entirely do, by myself in the hours from 5 to whenever after being.
Was that the reason you thought that they dismissed you? Was it clear to you why?
So. I believe so. It was right after that question that the
judge
said.
Did they tell you why they dismissed you at all?
No, but other jurors that were dismissed due to an answer to a specific question, it was always right after that question where the judge asked the 2 legal teams if there were objections to dismissing the juror.
Dude, I would be so on board. Oh, God, I would love to be on that jury duty. That shit would have been so fire. CNN has really run out of content. I mean, yeah. What is this? You have to be a certain level of shameless to say stuff like this when your family fled to Iran with billions of dollars of tax dollars and you're still luxuriously living on?
Interestingly enough, at the same time they launched this attack against Israel, they also launched an attack on Iranian women at home. Repression at home and aggression abroad has been part and parcels of the basic strategy of this regime that is trying to export an ideology from day one. And this is why we have.
Do they not pay your wage equivalent for doing jury duty in USA? Fuck no, not your wage equivalent. No, they give you they give you like the bare minimum. What's up with the gun tweet? I don't get it. What gun tweet? Oh, you mean this? That's not a gun tweet. That's just the schematics. I don't know. I just randomly posted that. What? It's just a doohickey. What? I didn't mean anything by it. Like, what? Yeah. It's a Fallout gun, and I want Tom Cotton to watch Fallout because it's a great show. Yeah, a thingamabob. DIY construction projects are fun. Yeah. What is this? Learning a lot about women today? Yeah. That's what it is. I am marveling in the sight of Japanese engineering again. Oh, wait, what did I post that as a quote tweet on? Oh, that's right. That's Senator Tom Cotton saying, I encourage people who get stuck behind the pro-Hamas mobs blocking traffic. Take matters into your own hands and get them out of the way. It's time to put an end to this nonsense. Yeah, it's just totally random. I like to randomly post stuff like that. How it should be done. He went further on Fox saying people should violently throw them off the bridge. That's cool. Will he be censured for inciting violence? Fuck no. Bu video Türkiye'den. Aha. Bu ne? Bu plaka ne oğlum? 06 Ankara plakası mı yoksa OG gibi gözüküyor? No, that's not from Turkey. No, that it looks like Turkey, but it's not. The cars look Turkish. The license plate looks Turkish on first sight, but I think it's literally first one to move, I fuck him. That's what he's saying. It's French. He said, "Je m'en bats les couilles." Yeah, if he was Turkish, he would have fucking been like, "I'm gonna go to ma kalk lan."
Senator.
That's crazy that Tom Cotton feels like he could just like incite violence of this regard as a sitting senator in a country where congressional approval is like always never breaking like 30%. You know what I mean? It's just odd. I feel like if there's a group of people that Americans hate more than fucking random protesters on the street, it's senators. You know?
Supreme Court allowing.
Very odd. Anyway, we'll get to Tom Cotton in a second. We covered it briefly because you guys were complaining about I guess like me posting a random picture of a doohickey, but I don't know why you guys were so focused on that. It's just totally random. Let's watch.
Have come to this point. There was also a matter of domestic consumption and a lot of propaganda trying to satisfy their base, but to the detriment of a nation that are the first victim of this regime. If you look at it from this perspective, Israelis, Iranians, Palestinians, Lebanese, Syrians, Iraqis, everybody is ultimately impacted by what this regime is trying to do. We have to look beyond just
the regime have certainly tried to. The regime has certainly tried to sell it back to the Iranian people as some kind of success. In fact, we spoke to the Iranian ambassador to the UN today, and he said, as far as we're concerned, this operation was successful.
Bro, if you don't want the regime to post fucking W's in the chat, then don't give them W posting moments. Like, it's always like, yo, man, it's just like kind of fucked up that, you know, Israel is so obviously the worst actor in the region that like everybody gets a lick in and gets a fucking big W in the chat. It's fucking stupid. Iran didn't get a W though, objectively. I mean, okay.
Well, the way majority of my compatriots look at it is billions of dollars wasted on weaponries that prove to be ineffective at the end of the day, while Iranians are queuing for food and fuel, worrying about what could happen next under an extremely bad economic situation. Our country is not going to benefit from this regime that doesn't spend a dime on the needs of our society. Instead, it finances its proxies in the region in order to maintain itself in power. This is the bottom line take that Iranians have of the situation. And as you well know, and I think a lot of the leaders in the region, including the Israelis, know very well that Iranians do not at all stand with what this regime stands for. What they call for is the exact opposite of what this regime is.
What do you think, Mr. Pahlavi, will happen next? Because, of course, Israel is having discussions. They're having very serious debates here about what to do next.
They should bring me back to Iran so I can be the monarch. and bring back Savak, very good police. I don't understand why the Iranian people, as you know, want me to be in charge again. My family will save Iran. Hassan, that was racist? No, remember, it's not racist if the accent is good. It's not racist if the accent is good. Okay? Persian, your Persian accent is getting better. Yeah, I remembered how to do it again.
They are split, but the feeling is there needs to be some kind of response. What do you think Iran will do next?
Look, I mean, I'm not going to get into speculating as to who is going to do what and whether this will escalate or not. What I can tell you, however, is that the ultimate solution that puts an end to all the problems that are directly tied to this regime, whether it's the nuclear threat.
Who's deciding if the accent is good? Me.
Or radicalism or terrorism or lack of stability in the region, is for this regime to be put to an end. The Iranian people have launched for a long time a fight for freedom. I think this is the time where the world can make an ultimate decision with a major shift in policy that rather than pursuing avenues of diplomacy and appeasement that only embolden this regime to do exactly what we have seen lately, is to put an end to it by supporting for change the Iranian people who are the alternative.
Don't ever do a Chinese accent, please. I want to maintain the illusion that your accents are good. Yeah, I can't do a Chinese accent. I would if I could. Trust me. You have to be a certain level of shameless to say stuff like this when your family fled Iran with billions of dollars of tax dollars and you're still luxuriously living on those tax dollars. This is peak joblessness right here. He needs to start wearing the tracksuits and give these interviews from a Persian market in Maryland. Then I would support him. Americans will be like, yeah, Iran is so fucked up. Western media is so funny when they go like, oh, dude, the Iranian regime is so brutal and so authoritarian, which is why they need to go back to being a monarchy. What are you saying? Like, do you hear the words that you are saying, Mr. Liberal Democracy Defender? It just doesn't make any sense. They just be like, no, that's why they need a fucking king. The crazier thing is there's dumbass Iranians that support this motherfucker. I know. That usually is how it works in diaspora, okay? It's just so funny that a dude, trust me, I know. I live in Los Angeles, okay? I know many Persians that want that to happen. Unfortunately. Wait, Hassan is for the Ayatollah? Why is there no other option here? Like, what? Is just Ayatollah or the monarchy? Is that what's going on? No, I'm a fucking Mossadegh guy, okay? It's just like, pick one. Saying that to Patrick Bet-David's biggest fan? Yeah, no, actually, I have a third option. Patrick Bet-David, okay? I've said this before. We bring back the monarchy, but instead of the Shah's family, it is now Patrick Bet-David. That's it. My man, Mossadegh and Hasanabi. Wow, I love you, brother. I'm a Mossadegh guy as well. There's a third way out there, okay? And his name is Patrick Bet-David. Patrick Bet-David isn't Iranian, he's Armenian. How dare you say that? He is Assyrian, but from Iran. Okay? And that's, yeah, exactly. That's King Patrick Bet-David to you. Also, it doesn't matter. Just put Patrick Bet-David in charge in general. Okay? It doesn't matter of what. The question isn't of what. Put him in charge of Iran. Put him in charge of other countries. Fuck it. Put him in charge of shit. In general. I think he would be great. Yeah, the Minister of Valuetainment. God, I love him so much. I love him a little too much, I think. Anyway. Ayatollah Bet-David, Supreme Leader of Valuetainment. Put Patrick Bet-David, fuck it, put him in charge of Turkey. What is this? New Caspian report goes over how Iran could balkanize. Oh my God. The Mossad, together with the CIA, trained Savak so they could have a cute family reunion with this guy. Yeah. It's not what can we put him in charge of, as in Patrick David, who's who we were talking about. It's how much can we put him in charge of. Yes. And there is no too much as an answer to that question. Okay. He reminds me of my somewhat problematic Lebanese uncle. He reminds me a little too much of my problematic Turkish uncle, Uncle Cenk. He is Cenk if Cenk actually stopped being a coward and took TRT and Ozempic. Or just Ozempic. I don't know. Or TRT. One or the other. Why not both? He's like Bizarro Cenk. We should just comment, put him in charge on all of his videos and not elaborate further. Chapo said he was Armenian on their pod. Oh, bro, he's both Armenian and Iranian. Yes. And also, Chapo doesn't know Patrick Bet David. I showed Chapo Patrick Bet David. Okay? How are you going to come at me when I was there when they learned about Patrick Bet David?
Iran has fired over 300 drones and missiles at Israel. It was the first ever direct attack between the two. Most of the projectiles were intercepted on the way. The Iranian attack came after Israel bombed Iran's embassy complex in Syria 2 weeks earlier. Regardless, Israel has vowed to retaliate for the direct attack. Unprecedented escalation is in the making, and armed conflict between America, Israel, and Iran seems closer than ever. However, if things go south and a full-out war erupts, Iran won't be
You just want to get on Patrick Bet David? That's why you're fizzing him up? If you think I need to fucking suck him off to get on his show, you don't know the first thing about Patrick Bet David. No. Me sucking him off is just because I think he is very entertaining. I don't need to fucking give him the gluck gluck so that he'll have me on a show. I'm pretty sure he would have me on a show regardless. Because Patrick Bet David loves a challenge, okay? He loves having tough conversations like, are you gay? Or when did you decide to become gay? Things of that nature come naturally to him, okay? Those questions just flow through him. He loves a challenge. He loves a debate.
Standing alone. Its proxy network is vast. In the last couple of months alone, Iran's proxy militias have orchestrated the
Is this why he's a good potential leader? Yes, especially for a country like Iran. Because, you know, Iran has some issues with homophobia. Patrick Bet David comes in and says, no more gay on television. Homosexuality rate in Iran drops to 0 tomorrow. Okay? Boom. Problem solved. Patrick Bet David is in charge. No more gay stuff in Iran. They cut it out.
October 7th assault on Israel. They've hit American troops in Jordan and Iraq, and they've attacked commercial freighters crossing the Red Sea in addition to the submarine cables beneath it. In all, since the Gaza conflict, there have been more than 160 attacks on American troops. Biden's response has been timid at best. America's resources are stretched thinly, and Tehran seems to be a move ahead. So much so that it may as well file a patent on proxy warfare. Iran has funded, equipped, and trained its proxy militias in the region and pursues a strategy designed to decimate American and Israeli power. However, short-term victories can often have long-term consequences. While Iran may be spreading the ashes of conflict, it might end up inhaling the smog of its aftermath.
Isn't this dude Azeri? Like, no disrespect, but I mean, I don't know what's happening here, but I do feel like he might be a little bit more given the allegiance between Azerbaijan and Israel. I don't know what his takes are on Israel, but you know,
math.
Patrick Bet David is more transphobic than the Ayatollah. No joke. That is true. Iran is like weirdly. Maybe a little too pro-trans, if you know what I mean.
What comes next for Israel is controversial, but it greatly depends on America's resolve. We know that Israel will respond since it needs deterrence. However, Biden is not on board with a counterattack, and White House officials are trying to spin Iran's
No, I'm not talking about Khomeini. I'm talking about this guy, Caspian
attack as an Israeli victory because there was minor damage. Ground News, today's sponsor, helps me cut through the noise.
I mean, it'd be rude of me to assume that just because he's Azeri that he is like pro-Israel. I'm just saying that the video was like a little spicy on that front.
It gives access to local and regional sources for a more comprehensive perspective. I can compare headlines on the same story and see how different sources, sometimes even opposing sources, frame certain events.
One of the fucking
Ground
only
News
advertisers
you
that
with the
sponsors
tools to
political
consider
content
all these angles.
for obvious
For
reasons.
me, that is invaluable. And it's the reason I turn to Ground News whenever I read about current events. Go to ground.news/Caspian to get 40% off unlimited access to their Vantage
No, he's got to
plan,
be not to
the one I
generalize
use to do
Azerbaijanis,
my
but come
analysis.
on. No, I'm not.
They
That's
really
like
are an
someone saying
invaluable
that
service,
I love the
and I
Armenian
can't
genocide or
recommend
something
them
because I'm
enough.
Turkish. I don't know. But
Iran
he is
and
talking
America
about
have been
Iran being
at
the
each other's
aggressor
throats
here,
for
kind of.
decades. But things have been heating up as of late. The war in Ukraine is eating up American resources, and whatever is left must stand by at the ready for the flashpoint that is Taiwan. For Iran, however, now is as good a time as any to overthrow the status quo. America can't be everywhere at all times.
Bro, if Iran was being opportunistic in this situation, they would have moved way faster post October 8. They had 6 months to take advantage of the instability. Why the fuck did they only strike after Israel struck and violated their sovereignty, struck their embassy and violated their sovereignty? It's just like, it's a very odd take to have. Like, oh yeah, America needs to worry about Taiwan. It's like, oh, America needs to worry about Taiwan and Ukraine is like depleting our resources. It's kind of funny to say this, especially at a time when like Ukrainian resources have been depleted as a consequence of America's larger interest in Israel and unconditionally defending Israel. It's just that, I don't know. I this is how it is always with like foreign policy Andes. Everybody that does like foreign policy YouTube essays always make it seem as though, I mean, they always channel a lot of the State Department propaganda. I don't know if it's because all of the resources that you have to rely on, if I'm being super charitable, every resource that you have to rely on, if you are genuinely interested in covering global conflict, is going to be from think tanks that are State Department cutouts. Okay, FDD and many of these other adjacent think tanks are comprised of former military-industrial complex, current military-industrial complex people, and therefore you end up, if you're like an OSINT Andy, or if you're the type of dude who writes essays like this, and those are the most valuable resources, this part is true. I think that ends up basically shaping your attitude about regional actors. You always do so much America bad, you must get bored now. I mean, yeah, it is kind of boring to keep repeating why America is bad. You know what I mean? It's just America keeps showing why they're bad over and over again. But as you guys know, I repeat myself at the top of the hour all the time. I tell you that there's a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. And I tell you that if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. And I keep repeating myself every hour all the time. So, you know, I am kind of known at this point for my repetition. Yeah, America should, in order to switch it up a little bit, America should try being good for once. That would be fun. That would be interesting. You know what I mean? Every war YouTuber mentions Taiwan within 3 minutes or of their completely unrelated video. Yeah. Up until October 7, Israel routinely congratulated itself about its skill in managing social media. Kiss that shit goodbye. Oh, yeah. Thank you for saying you love my shirt. You're still going to see the 3-minute ad break right now, unless you subscribe. Could you imagine, dude? Could you imagine if America was like, you know what? We're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to do good things now. Okay? That would be crazy. That would be a crazy stream. It'd be opposite day streaming at this point. The real question is, don't people, you are a Zionist? Yeah, I am. I love Zionism. 34 MKD, thank you for the 50 gifted subs. Anyway, the point I was trying to make is that, like, a lot of these dudes either channel State Department propaganda because, like, all the resources that they rely on for the most accurate coverage, is State Department cutouts, and they don't really recognize it, so they don't have, like, a little bit of skepticism that they need to exercise, healthy skepticism that they need to exercise when looking at those resources, or they just eat that shit up because it does well. Maybe they agree with it. You know what I mean? It corresponds to their previous biases, and they don't really re-examine that at all. It's one or the other.
But to understand how things reached this point, we need to rewind the clock to the 1979 Islamic Revolution. The US-backed monarch is overthrown, and the Islamic leadership seizes the US embassy, holding all 52 American diplomats hostage. For Iran, severing relations with Washington was critical to ensuring the success of the Islamic Revolution. After all, you can't wear the crown while kneeling to an outsider's throne. In the decades following, Iran's foreign policy focuses on...
Yeah, history famously started in 1979 for Iran, which was not like a 1,000-year-old empire before then, and went through many different forms of governance. 1953 is entirely unrelated to the process.
Rolling back the US presence across the Middle East. Conflicts in the periphery ebb and flow like relentless...
Thanks for dropping $500 anyway. Dude, I don't know what you guys... Why do you guys get mad on behalf of 34 MKD 50? Like, how are you getting mad on behalf of a chatter who is like a fucking consistent supporter? Like, what's it to you?
Waves crashing onto the shore. Each wave presents Iran with an opportunity to expand its power. But this approach isn't about annexing territories, it's about creating vassals. By funding, training, and arming a crew of predominantly Shia militant groups across the Middle East, Iran cultivates a web of armed militias ready to execute its will, all while maintaining a veil of deniability. Yet, in the Islamic Republic's infancy, the US held the upper hand. Saddam Hussein emerged as a formidable rival, launching an invasion in 1980. It took 8 years, millions of deaths, and hundreds of billions of dollars to force both sides to the negotiating table. However, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. While the Iran-Iraq war was devastating, it brought Senior Assad's Syria closer to Iran. With Assad, Tehran nurtured its first proxy, Hezbollah. The Shia group was the first member of Iran's proxy network, commonly called the Axis of Resistance. Hezbollah has since grown into an influential political party in Lebanon and one of the most capable military forces in the region. It bolsters around 100,000 fighters, augmented by drones, tanks, artillery, and an arsenal of at least 130,000 rockets and missiles. At the heart of Iran's overseas ventures stands the...
How did they get so much support, I wonder? Hezbollah, I mean. How, Hezbollah, like how, what did they do? Will he mention what they were doing? Like, how did they become, I don't know anything about the situation. I'm just simply asking this question. Like, what was it was pure evil that caused them to be seen as, caused them to achieve success. What were their goals? What were their aims? To do evil.
Revolutionary Guards Corps, a formidable ideological paramilitary force that forms the backbone of Iran's power projection. Standing 150,000 strong, it's nearly half the size of Iran's national army. Within its ranks operates the infamous Quds Force, renowned for orchestrating, supplying, and training Iran's proxy assets across the region. Far from being a small fish in a big pond, the Quds Force has developed additional proxy groups in Iraq, especially after 2011, as US influence diminished. Iranian
It almost feels like there's a consistent through line that is not really mentioned here, which is that, like, any kind of fundamentalist group gains a shit ton of prominence when there is some kind of Western involvement. And in this circumstance, I mean Israel. Israel being something that everybody understands in the region as a Western forward operating base for the United States of America's interest specifically. So when the Western forward operating base ends up doing, you know, America shit, obviously the guys who are like, we're going to fight against that, gain a lot more prominence because all of a sudden there is a real reason. If it's kept up, if it's kept as simply like a civil war internally amongst different factions, whether it be Christian phalangists, whether it be Shia Muslims, Sunni Muslims, secular forces in the country, it's a whole different ballgame. But the moment that you have another guy kind of fucking up the situation for everybody else, you know, utilizing the Dahia doctrine. Thank you, 34MKD50 with another 50 gifted subs. Jesus Christ.
Backed groups operate under the umbrella group Islamic Resistance in Iraq, which is about 35.
I will never forgive nor forget the fact that Hezbollah in Lebanon has motherfucking fiber optic internet and I don't, okay? They do and I don't.
5,000 to 75,000 strong and spearheaded by groups like Kataib Hezbollah, who are known for their persistent assaults on US interests in Iraq and Syria. In 2011, the winds of the Arab Spring swept across the Middle East, toppling regimes and sowing rebellion. It created the perfect storm for Iran to expand its influence. Amidst the upheaval, Iran seized the opportunity. It reached out to the Houthi rebels in Yemen to plant its influence deep within the Arabian Peninsula, particularly near its key adversaries, the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, both of which boast robust economies, formidable military forces.
Why always play the victim card and use it to excuse every Muslim country's problems? What do you want me to say? I literally described Lebanon as a country where there are multiple different religions and told you personally that there are also secular forces as well. And if kept simply as internal conflict, a civil war, if you will, the situation would be rather different. This is nothing. I am describing the situation to you personally of how Hezbollah gained prominence. And because you fucking have this hang up about it being a Muslim country, that you can't even understand what I'm trying to say. There is one consistent through line in every single one of these Muslim countries, and that is Western involvement. Western involvement causes destabilization. Western involvement causes instability. Western involvement then hardens the position of fundamentalists who are seen as the real, true anti-Western opposition to said Western involvement. This is how both in Iran or even in southern Lebanon or any other country really, more fundamentalist forces always end up gaining prominence. I don't have a problem with Muslim countries, but somehow it's always the West. If you don't recognize Western intervention being a legitimate reason for all of these countries, including even mine, as a matter of fact, the one that I came from, I don't know what to tell you. You just don't want to see the truth. This is why so many people have an issue with. This is why so many people have an issue. Well, you're from Israel, by the way. Okay, well, there you go. How did Israel become a country? It's important to understand that the U.S. directly supports Islamists as opposition to secular nationalists and leftists in the Middle East. They feared that the third world would stop giving them oil and ally with the Soviet Union. Islamists were the ones giving CIA support. Yeah, there's also that part of the equation as well. The problem here is that people refuse to recognize this intervention and its genuine consequences in the region, and simply want to believe that, oh no, these guys are just like barbaric on their own. And then ironically, sometimes they'll show like liberal aesthetic pleasing footage from like Iran, you know what I mean, in like the 50s or the 40s, to be like, look how fucking modern this country was. Look, you got women in bathing suits and shit. And it's always like, yeah, dude. And then what happened? Or they do this in Egypt. They do this in Iran. They even do this in Afghanistan, which is ironic because like the Afghan communist supporting government was one of the more progressive ones. They did a lot of fucked up shit to the Muslims in general in Afghanistan, but still, you know what I mean? They show that as this as like the beacon of progress. And it's like, what happened? Do you think Islam was invented in like the 60s? The 40s, 50s, no Islam? How did so many of these countries have fundamentalists gain prominence and power? How did that happen? Let's not examine this question further. Okay, stop making it about Islam. Your people are killing Christian Arabs as well. Yeah, there's also that aspect of it too. It's not even just about Islam in general. It's not about religion at all, as a matter of fact. The West will destabilize the country for 40 years and prop up the most reactionary elements to then call you uncivilized. Yeah. And by the way, this is a little bit more about Islamophobia in general due to like, you know, the past 2 decades of steady Islamophobic propaganda to justify the war on terror. But there's a reason why we don't, like, Islamophobia is the reason why we don't heavily feature Latin American coups that worked in the identical capacity where we put the fucking Christo-fascists in charge. The CIA alignment is always the same. Obviously, there are exceptions, but it almost always is the fucking same. Find the most psychopathic fascist right-wingers you can, give them arms, train them in the ways of torture and terror, have them fucking overthrow the democratically elected government, have them fight and kill a shit ton of people, even other churchgoers and nuns and shit too, depending on what flavor of the Latin American country we're talking about, and then, you know, reproduce the same results over and over again. It's just very shocking. But the reason why we don't talk about Latin American countries and coups in this similar vein as we do about, like, Islam is because of Islamophobia. Saying it's not about religion isn't saying much, though. Religion is a big factor. No, it's not. Religion is simply a tool. It is a way to galvanize large swaths of the population. Religion is on both sides of every conflict. I always use the same example when it comes to the Christian advocacy for slavery and how Christianity played a role in liberation theology and specifically the abolition of slavery in this country. Some of the most prominent anti-slavery activists that are considered radical terrorists, but they were correct at the time and they are correct now as well, like John Brown, were religious nutters. John Brown thought that he had a mission that God had given him to abolish slavery. Okay? Religion is just used as a tool. That's it.
And strong ties to America. The Houthis are a battle-hardened rebel group. They've been fighting the Saudi-backed government forces since 2014. Now, however, they act as Iran's missile platform. Since 2015, the Houthis have launched hundreds of drone and missile attacks against Saudi Arabia, Israel, and even the UAE. There is little objective data available on the Houthis, but their numbers sit around 200,000 strong, though not all are combat ready. Either way, between 10,000 and 30,000 Houthi fighters are believed to be loyal to Iran. And by recruiting the Houthis, Iran has gained strategic leverage and ensnared Arab resources, placing another piece on the region's chessboard. By and large, Iran recognizes the limits of its conventional military and, therefore, relies on asymmetric warfare through its proxies. It's a strategy that has proven so effective that the Syrian civil war stood as the only major trial to its ambitions.
I lose brain cells listening to you speak. I mean, I don't think I said anything that objectionable so far. I don't understand like what I have said here that would have caused you to lose brain cells. I would love for you to elaborate. Following September 11, saying is not allowed. I mean, maybe my perspective is different than yours because I grew up in a very religious family. Oh my God, every time. Okay, I can't duke it out with your own personal trauma from your own hyper-religious family's upbringing, okay? This is not my perspective. When I'm telling you something about religion being used as a tool and it's simply just ideology of a different variety, sure, it's dogmatic, but ideology nonetheless. That is an objective fact. It's not a different perspective from you. When I tell you that religion played a role, Christianity played a role in both the abolition of slavery and also the maintenance of slavery in the United States of America, that is an objective fact. I'm not personally giving you my analysis, or my own biased perspective. That is a fact. My biased perspective comes after that. Okay? The fundamentals that I derive my analysis off of are still correct, though. They are still objectively accurate historical facts.
The potential fall of Assad threatened to undermine Iran's grip on the Levant and blow a hole in its proxy network. Losing Syria would mean losing direct land access to Lebanon, where Hezbollah is situated. However, through an alliance with Russia, Iran was able to push back the Syrian rebel forces, securing Assad's position and effectively turning him into a vassal. A little to the south sits Hamas, another proxy of Iran. Since the October 7th attack, Hamas has lost manpower and territory to Israeli forces. Moreover, an estimated 28,000.
This is a very interesting way to frame what Israel's been doing.
Palestinian lives.
Just joined, but you should have brought up the Iranian guy who was the most secular and valid leader for Iran at the time that the US didn't like. I did.
Have been lost since the start of the hostilities. Iran is the only clear winner in the conflict. The Hamas attack came at a time when Bahrain and the UAE, under American guidance, made historic moves to normalize relations with Israel through the Abraham Accords, with Saudi Arabia on.
It's just like saying that Hamas is an Iranian proxy is also kind of ridiculous. Hamas, one, did not start off as an Iranian proxy. It was a Muslim Brotherhood cutout. It was an Islamic charity originally. And just because Iran and Hamas are aligned, because Iran thinks that Hamas is a very valuable tool to use against the Zionist entity, does not change the reality that, like, they are obviously operating on their own volition. It's ridiculous. Hamas's existence is simply one of resistance to the Israeli apartheid. Like, it's not like Iran is controlling Hamas and going like, yeah, do October 7, please. That would be sick. It's crazy. Especially when the United States of America... Oh, fuck. I'm effing. Hold on. Hold. I'm still here. Okay. Is it raining in LA? No, it's actually beautiful. It's 77 degrees and sunny in Los Angeles right now. It's so awesome. Oh, it's effing again a little bit. Hold on. Hold. No, earlier he did say Iran told him to do October 7. Yeah, it's completely wrong. That's just objectively false. What is happening to my bit rate right now? What the hell? Shit is unstable as hell right now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Chill. Chill. Hold on. What is going on, dude? My download is really fucking high. My upload seems high too. This might be like a Twitch related issue, maybe. Are you now more mad that Hezbollah has fiber? I am. I'm big mad that Hezbollah has fiber. What is happening here? A little bit of micro Fs here and there, but I think it'll be fine. All right, I think we went through it.
On the verge of a similar breakthrough. Conversely, the Gaza conflict has reignited Arab-Israeli tensions with widespread regional outrage at Israeli actions. Seemingly, Tehran may have strategically sacrificed a pawn to prevent the formation of an anti-Iran coalition. In a daring response to the Gaza conflict, the Houthis launched boarding operations and drone and missile strikes on vessels navigating the Red Sea. The IMF reported that in January alone, these disruptions led to a...
What the fuck? Bro, what the hell is happening right now? What is going on? Chill out, dude. It's like going up and down a lot. I don't know what it is. The video is lagging. And the audio is good, but the video is lagging. Yeah, it should be... I mean, it just goes in and out. It'll be fine in a second.
A 30% reduction in Red Sea shipping. Since then, the US Navy has intervened, but drone and missile strikes remain a threat. At large, the Houthi offensive seeks to twist America's hand in its dealings with Israel and the wider Arab world. Adding insult to injury, the Red Sea attacks marked the prelude to further assaults on US interests. On January 28th, at the Tower 22 base in Jordan, a ruthless strike left 3 American soldiers dead and 40 injured. Though the Islamic resistance of Iraq claimed responsibility, the Pentagon was quick to point fingers at Iran the next day, accusing it of arming the assailants and vowing to hold Tehran responsible. In response, America, with British support, unleashed precision strikes on 36 Houthi positions in Yemen. This was then followed by additional attacks on Iranian proxies in Iraq and Syria. Yet, while air power sends a powerful message, it often falls short of delivering a knockout punch. Iran's proxies are well acquainted with such air power tactics. They anticipate as much. Ergo, to dismantle Iran's extensive proxy network, America has but one choice: boots on the ground. Beyond offensive actions, the US has bolstered its presence in the region with an extra 3,200 troops, in addition to state-of-the-art Patriot and THAAD air defense systems, plus a naval task force. This military footprint serves as a signal to both Iran and US allies of America's commitment to regional security. Still, Iran's proxy attacks are meticulously timed. They capitalize on a critical election year in the United States and bank on American...
Dude, this part is fucking ridiculous. This guy's reading a think tank script. Dude, this is ridiculous. It is like Iran didn't time this more than Israel did. Iran responded to Israeli escalation. What the fuck? Like, this is making Iran seem so brilliant, like, as a tactician. It weirdly enough, is just like giving way too much props to Iran. What the fuck is this theory? Like Iran knew that Israel would behave in a belligerent manner. Like Iran knew that like Israel would strike their embassy. That's why they personally sent their IRGC top command to the embassy, knowing full well that they would die. Like Iran is basically behaving like what's his name in Shogun, sending his best friend Toranaga. Iran is basically Toranaga, Lord Toranaga coded, where they're saying like, listen, obviously I want to showcase how determined I am to give up my arms and how I'm not going to certainly restore the shogunate, which is why I obviously, if my best friend fucking commits seppuku, everyone will know inevitably that I'm interested in giving up my arms. Like that's what Iran was doing. They were sending their IRGC generals knowing full well that they're going to fucking die in that consulate, because Israel certainly will hit that consulate and violate Iranian sovereignty and give him a credence, give him an opportunity to strike back at Israel.
Obligations to multiple conflicts. So far, Biden has been cautious, but an electoral victory could encourage him to take a firmer stand.
I thought you were spoiling last night's episode and almost launched myself off my patio. No.
Trump would do the same, if not more. Nonetheless, there are bumps in the road to hegemony.
Yeah, that's the other part. Like, Iran, so smart, so brilliant, so good at tactics, but also doesn't recognize that the guy, Donald Trump, is going to advocate to nuke Iran. Like, what the fuck's happening here? I didn't get to the Iran episode of Shogun yet. Thanks, spoiled.
Despite Iran's influence, each proxy operates under its unique ideological banner. Deviations from Iran's strategic directives could disrupt its meticulous plans. For example, the recent attacks risk blowback. Washington could break off negotiations for the exit of its remaining 2,500 troops in Iraq. So,
yeah, dude, definitely. They were so interested. America was so interested in removing themselves from the region until Iran just went ahead and did it, dude.
Iran can walk on thin ice, but its proxies need to watch their step. And while Tehran is a formidable powerhouse, it is not without vulnerabilities. Like Yugoslavia before it, Iran's ethnic layout is its prime debility. American and Israeli policymakers are currently considering employing these internal divisions in hopes of bringing about the...
Yeah, that's not even a joke, by the way. Yeah, we joke, but the guy who wrote Shogun also wrote a love story set in late Shah Revolution period called Whirlwind. Yeah, that dude wrote a lot about like East meets West, all the way to, I think, Afghanistan. So technically, if FX wanted to, they could literally continue the books. Yeah, the chatter is not wrong.
Balkanization of Iran.
Wait, what? Wait, I stopped focusing on the video for a second. I'm sorry, what?
Iran's ethnic layout is its prime debility. American and Israeli policymakers are currently considering employing these internal divisions in hopes of bringing about the Balkanization of Iran. Israel in particular has strengthened ties with Azerbaijan and shown interest in supporting Azerbaijani separatist movements within Iran. Ethnic Azerbaijanis number around 25 and 28 million, and they are mostly tucked in the north of Iran. If even a portion of that sizable number takes up arms against Tehran, it could spell disaster for Iran's statehood. For now, though, information operations are in their infancy. To peek at the future, one needs to look to Iran's east.
Wait, this video also says that Iran proxies are bad, but the US and Israel using destabilizing proxies is good. The liberal mind is astounding. No, it's not. It's actually quite simple. It just goes to good, bad dynamics. America good. America is always in the interest of good. Sometimes they do bad to do the good thing, but ultimately they're always good. Iran is always bad. Obviously, they're the big bad. and they want to do bad things. And, you know, even when they might be on the right side of a particular situation, they're still doing it in a bad interest. And we have to do bad things to defeat the bad guys. It literally is just good versus evil. That's it. That's how every liberal thinks at the end of the day. Like their moral foundation comes from a laughable, childlike analysis where our guys are good, their guys are bad. We have to sometimes do bad things to defeat the bad guys. It's very Marvel-pilled, exactly. That's it. Once you recognize that, then you understand where a lot of this, a lot of the additional analysis is just built on top of that faulty premise.
Here, Iran is in a standoff with Pakistan. At the heart of the issue are militant Baluch separatists who make up the ethnic majority in the region and feel marginalized by both Tehran and Islamabad. On Iran's side, there is a Sunni Islamist insurgency, while the Baluch insurgency in Pakistan is a more secular nationalist movement. Either way, the ethnic insurgency has both Iran and Pakistan on edge. So much so that in January, Tehran launched unilateral strikes against Baluch separatists hiding in Pakistan. It was the first time Iran conducted an attack on Pakistani soil. 2 days later, Islamabad responded with airstrikes against Baluch separatists hiding in Iran. The tit-for-tat shows just how quickly and unexpectedly things can go south. For now though, as the dust settles, Israel will look to re-establish deterrence for Iran's direct attack. However, the level of support from America will determine whether the crisis escalates beyond just Israel and Iran.
The one factor that absolutely zero people consider in this equation is how much disdain, understandable disdain, every single ethnic group has towards the United States of America. Okay? This is what so many people, for some weird reason, when they're suckling on the liberal, neoliberal American imperialism teat, refuse to reckon with. It refuse to recognize in general. It's just that, like, America, and by extension Israel, are seen as outsiders, not because like Israel is Jewish or anything like that, even though it does oftentimes turn into anti-Semitism as well, certainly, for some. It literally always is just stop interfering in our affairs. There is no stronger way. There is no stronger way to unite someone other than turn around and say, these guys are fucking coming in and ruining our shit.
Regardless of how this plays out, Iran's proxies move.
Do you honestly want Iranian Shiite Islamic revolutions and influence to spread through the entire Middle East? Because that's Iran's goal if they aren't deterred by anything. Yeah, dude, that's what I want. You know, I as a person coming from a Sunni country, I want the true Islam to finally thrive, okay? I would like to be ruled by a mullah myself. That's my take.
Move across the periphery like a sandstorm covering America's footprints. But proxy warfare
You're
always
internationalist, so you support Iran exporting its revolution? Yeah.
Cuts both ways. Iran may yet win the battle, only to lose the war. I've been your host, Shirvan from Caspian Report.
Yeah. It's weird though, because like Hamas are Sunni, Palestinians are Sunni, and yet they're also a proxy of the Iranian Shiite regime. Is that what's going on? It's just undialectical to think Iran could just take over the Middle East as baby brain shit. Yeah, I know. But, you know. But have you considered that they are the big bad? Absolutely sobbing with laughter right now. Oh, this is a Trump trial thing. Here, we were going to get to the last part of this process. which is that GOP Senator Tom Cotton, everyone's favorite, what kind of Chinese are you, Senator, had a pop-off moment on Twitter that he doubled down on Fox News.
Tom Cotton of Arkansas suggesting Americans take matters into their own hands when it comes to pro-Palestinian protesters. Cotton's comments came after crowds of activists protesting the Israel-Hamas war blocked roads and shut down bridges in major cities like San Francisco, Brooklyn, Seattle, and Chicago yesterday. Take a look at what the senator said on Fox News.
I have to say, Sandra, I agree with you that you have to get to these criminals early.
Yeah, first he said protesters, and he had to stop himself to be like, these criminals, these Hamas-supporting criminals.
If something like this happened in Arkansas on a bridge there, let's just say I think there'd be a lot of very wet criminals that have been tossed overboard, not by law enforcement, but by the people whose road they're blocking. If they glued their hands to a car or the pavement, well, probably pretty painful to have their skin ripped off. But I think that's the way we'd handle it in Arkansas. And I would encourage most people anywhere that get stuck behind criminals like this who are trying to block traffic to take matters in their own hands. There's only usually a few of them, and there's a lot of people being inconvenienced. It's time to put an end to this nonsense. I sympathize with law enforcement having to deal with this, but I think it's time for private citizens who are the ones being inconvenienced here when they're confronted with these protesters just to solve matters on their own before the police even show up.
I'm thinking that's a little over the top. I don't know.
It's beyond.
What?
It's beyond that. I mean, police officers would be the first to say, "Don't do that."
Please don't say that or do that.
Cops would say, "Please don't do that. Please don't say that. Please don't take matters into your own hands."
Rip people's skin off?
You know, Mike, there are a few things. Well, I'll just put it this way. I doubt Senator Cotton is any more exasperated than I am when I see people doing this, blocking people who are going to work or trying to take their kids to a doctor's appointment or trying to make an airplane at O'Hare so they can get home in time to see a kid's ball game or a recital. Or just to get home to the people they love. There are ways to protest, and there's ways I think not to protest, and this is extraordinarily counterproductive to any cause that you're pushing.
Yeah, dude, it's just fucked up. It's fucked up, man. It's always fucked up. The best way to protest, everybody knows, is just sitting at home, okay? And not even tweeting about it, honestly. Just shutting the fuck up. Everybody knows. Everybody knows there's no good way to protest. Now, I don't agree with a sitting U.S. senator saying we should execute protesters. Okay? But honestly, I get the energy because it is kind of fucking annoying. I got places to be. Okay? I got places to be. It's ironic, though, because it's like the reasons why people do this is not because they think like the dudes who are stuck in traffic are going to magically turn around and be like, well, now that I'm late to work, I'm definitely pro-Palestine. That's not the whole point. The point is to be like, hey, man, shit is really fucked up out there. I don't know if you're aware of it. Okay? It's supposed to make it to the news. And it's supposed to reaffirm the commitment that people who are aware of what the fuck's going on to be further emboldened to take action. It is one of 1,000 different ways that people do engage in meaningful protests. I was a Zionist before, not supporting the settlements, but just on Israel's right to exist. Watching your streams on the war has developed a much more pro-Palestine viewpoint for me. In whole conflict, I can see no practical solution with the current state of affairs. What do you think a solution could be like, and how would it come along? Also, what do you think about Israel's right to exist? I think Israel does not have a right to exist as a Judeo-supremacist apartheid regime. If there was a single secular state where all the Palestinian citizens that are currently occupied by Israel could have equal rights and representation that the Israeli citizens have, that would be the only way for this country to exist. I don't give a shit what it's called at that point. Anyway, ironic how this dude questioned the TikTok CEO about the Tiananmen Square massacre and acted like he cared about those protesters, but now he's calling for violence against these protesters? Yeah, exactly. Those tanks needed to go, Senator. Those tanks needed to keep moving, Senator. Shut the fuck up, Senator. They had to deal with them in any way they could. Yeah. The whole point is so that people are more aware of what the fuck's going on. Any kind of media coverage on this protest end up basically playing into the hands of the protesters in general. Like, that's their goal. Their goal is to get people to talk and continue talking about it. Even if they're like, oh man, that shit is so fucking annoying that they're like blocking traffic. Isn't that a great way to, it's not the best way to do a protest. Then it calls into question why they are protesting. That's the goal of protests like this. Once you fulfill your journalistic duty and actually explain why they are protesting, a lot more people could basically make up their minds on whether it's a valid way to do it or not. Okay?
But here we are.
And no, EMS doesn't get stuck behind a shit ton of cars in situations like this. These protests literally have that, they call that into account. They actually open up cordons specifically for emergency vehicles to get through. So you're not right about that at all. That would be ridiculous. They're like, yeah, sorry, you have to, your diabetic uncle who's going into shock has to fucking die in the ambulance because Palestinians are dying is not the goal here. And they do actually open up the cordon specifically to let emergency vehicles through. They do it all the time.
We have a guy, Tom Cotton, that went to Harvard, undergrad and law school, served in the military, who's talking about throwing people off the Golden Gate Bridge, ripping their skin off. We had a United States senator going on a network, national network, suggesting that Americans rip skin off of people's hands. Because
I don't get why these guys don't just fucking, I don't know, protest quietly in a fucking cornfield or something. Like, why are they, why are they just like shutting down places of commerce? It's fucked up. Genuinely. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Oh.
Are aggravated, and to take matters into their own hands. This is just beyond stupid on his part, beyond dangerous on his part to say this. And I must say, this goes. Tom Cotton, that used to be on this show pre-Trump, would never have said something like that. No. Never. No. Tom Cotton that we.
Yeah, Trump is the reason why Tom Cotton is a fucking fascist dickhead, dude. Great analysis. Thank you. Like, come on, bro. These guys are all the same barbaric monsters. They were a little bit more reserved, but like, they still, this kind of shit is so dumb. It makes it seem like Trump is the single arbiter of the Republican Party, and the entire fucking Republican Party is not morally bankrupt, devoid of humanity, ultimately corrupt, and violent, bloodthirsty monsters before Trump. Why are you running defense? Well, Joe Scarborough was a GOP state senator, if I'm remembering. He might have been a representative, but he was a congressperson for the Florida state as a Republican. So, you know, maybe that's why he thinks like, oh, pre-Trump, the Republican Party was different. It's not true, though. Okay? It's not. It is objectively not true. The Republican Party have always been openly bloodthirsty. It is so fucking stupid to be like, oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe what Trump did to the party. It's like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. By the way, yesterday, a video surfaced of a settler yelling at Palestinians, if there weren't leftists filming me here, I would kill you. Earlier today, Ben-Gvir literally opened a new police force to prevent leftists and activists from entering the West Bank. It's impressive how quick with it they are when they get new suggestions to make things worse for Palestinians, lol. Yep. Guys, before Donald Trump, The Republican Party would only fucking, say the quiet part out loud behind closed doors. They would, of course, still very consistently and very famously openly advocate for the same violent policies. But, like, they would just say the quiet part out loud in private. So I don't really understand why this wonderful man, Tom Cotton, has become such a violent guy.
Interviewed time and again on this show, would have never said anything like this. This shows
leftists. Okay, let's not go crazy. Those aren't leftists. Wait, what? Yes, they are. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude. Israeli fucking activists that literally saved the lives of Palestinians in the West Bank are every bit the fucking leftists that you wish you were. Get the fuck out of here, dude. That's insane, okay? That's insane. Those guys are literally putting their lives on the line in many instances. They're brave as hell. How dare you? That's insane, dude. Those are fucking brave boys, girls, men, and women that go out to the fucking West Bank and defend the lives of Palestinians against settler violence by literally putting their fucking bodies on the line. Okay? Come on. The four of them are very brave. No, it's more than that. That's ridiculous. That actually is ridiculous. That's like, come on, guys. That's crazy.
how violence and violent rhetoric has become normal practice in the Republican Party. These are the people who are preparing for a guy who has promised to be a dictator from day one.
Listen, nothing is more infuriating, and I could not measure the anger within me if I were disrupted in terms of getting someone to a hospital. Member of the family was stuck in traffic because of what they did on the Golden Gate Bridge or whatever, wherever it was. But you know what would happen if I get out of my car and grabbed one of the protesters from their cars and threw them off the Golden Gate Bridge? I would be doing 15 to 20 years for manslaughter. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
That's what
I mean, that's what he was saying.
That's what he said. Throw people off the bridge.
I wouldn't strip anybody's.
People like Tom Cotton call Muslims terrorists and then proceeded to actually promote terror himself. So ironic. Yeah, but you don't understand. Tom Cotton is a white American Christian. So he's obviously not a terrorist. He's a freedom fighter. It's very different. You understand? Like, that's very different. So you guys don't understand. It's the terrorism is when you don't do anything, but you're just like Muslim or brown, Muslim adjacent. When you're a white Christian guy and you're like, let's murder every protester, then you're not actually inciting terror at all. As a matter of fact, as a sitting senator,
rip their skin off.
They're brave patriot.
Eddie Glaude and I were talking just prior to coming out here. There was a poll. As a matter of fact, I have the numbers. There's a poll taken. I was just looking at it yesterday. 1/3, 34% of Americans would like to go and settle in another country if they were free to do so. Half of Americans, 51% of those under the age of 35, want to resettle elsewhere, as do 39% of those 35 to 54 years of age. Why is this happening? It's happening because people like Tom Cotton and people like the guy who is in trial today, downtown Manhattan, they continually run this country down, that there's something wrong with this country, that there's something going on in this country that is against you and me, average citizens. They have done this. They've roiled the pot in this country to a point where the anger, the unspoken anger of people, the unearned anger of people has disrupted.
Hey, everyone, MSN.
Yeah, that orange man, I hate him. I hate him so much. Yeah. Anyone that says they miss the old Republican Party is a fucking deluded asshole, okay? The old Republican Party was just as monstrous as the new Republican Party. The new Republican Party is the same. Donald Trump is not a man with his own perspective, with his own framework, okay? He simply is a room reader. The only reason why Donald Trump was so successful was because he read the room very well and was like, well, this is what people want to hear, so I'm just going to say them that. Obviously, he's personally racist and yada, yada. He doesn't give a shit about the genuine fascists that he's emboldening. He's racist enough not to care. But it is so funny to think that like the old Republican Party is very different. No, it's not. Okay. And I don't know why our favorite liberal in the chat goes, bro, Mitt Romney went down for binders full of women is such a ridiculous. I'm more of a libtard than you. Okay. This is ridiculous analysis from our libtard who wants to fucking run defense without recognizing for the Republican Party. I am literally a bigger libtard than you. Okay. Put your fucking Democratic Party loyalist card at the front door. Okay. You're done. You're cut out of the conversation. I am fucking suckling on Nancy Pelosi's titties. You are not. I'm sick and tired of this shit. What is this? I'm the real libtard, not you. You're like, oh, some Republicans are good. No. No, they are not. Okay? God damn. I'm not saying any of them are good. I'm saying they somehow got worse and bolder. Yeah, they did. You want to know why they got worse and bolder? Not because of Donald Trump. Because reactionaries, if they don't have something to react against, okay, will turn around and try to dial back history and regress. And when the Democratic Party doesn't give them something to fight against, which the Democratic Party consistently has refused to do so, they end up successfully, you know, regressing on civil liberties that we took for granted. Hey, what is that? What is that? Calm down now. Trump is a reflection of the Republican sentiment. That's it. Absolutely sobbing with laughter. Now, a prospective juror who reposted an AI-generated video in which AI Donald Trump says, "I'm dumb as fuck," has been dismissed for clause. Judge Merchant is reading Trump memes reposted by prospective jurors into the record and periodically apologizing for any offense given. The latest, Trump invites the Thai boys to the White House and the boys request to return to their cave. I love that because that's such a liberal ass meme. That's funny as hell. That's awesome. We as a community have not made it if we don't even have a single fucking, if we don't have a single fucking juror in there, okay? Like, we somehow need to make it to the record that at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. That meme needs to make it into the Trump court records. And that if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get one free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster. Hasanabi hit infiltration. Let's take a look at some of the hogs at the fucking Trump trial. Thank God, dude. Thank the Lord Jesus Christ, our Savior, for giving us some goddamn content. 34 MKD50, thank you for the 50 gifted subs, allowing 50 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Here's a 3-minute ad break now.
Funding district attorney in order to bring this case. There's no underlying felony.
Oh, there she is. What's her face? Loomer.
I'm gonna give you $5 here. It's a hush money payment.
Here's the
deal. If you can just leave.
Here's the deal, my friend. That has nothing to do with it.
So we are here in Lower Manhattan, outside the courthouse where Donald Trump is set to appear today for the first day of jury selection for the Stormy Daniels hush money case.
That's right. Behind us, you can see about maybe 10 to 15 Trump supporters, about 50 members of the media. So the media is really showing out today.
Donald Trump, at the speech in Allentown, he said he wanted people to be there, show their support. And it looks like the people that came were about, like you said, 15 people. And Laura Loomer screaming at the top of her lungs in a bullhorn.
Apparently, a few days ago, also, he said to stand back and stand by. A call back to what he said to the Proud Boys at one point. But I think people have stood back. He didn't
actually say stand back and stand by.
I think he did.
Did he really?
Oh, we'll look it up.
We'll
throw that clip in here if he did. But
I think
either way,
tweeted it saying this is what they're saying here. This is the implication.
Well, the implication seems to have kept people way back, so far back that they didn't even show up.
They didn't show up.
Yeah.
They didn't show up. And when you look at it and you see that there's like, lots of Trump supporters, you should also keep in mind that I would say like probably 15% of those Trump supporters, those 15 people, maybe 20% are people pretending to be Trump supporters who are like wearing Trump hats but they're just kind of like doing funny videos.
So
and
of
things
that,
like that
15, you got to subtract.
three or four of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we do know a lot of the people here. We know Brian Glenn from Right Side Broadcasting. He was over interviewing some people.
We know the Jews control everything guy.
Oh yeah, Peter. Look over here. There he is in a ski mask over there. He's got a giant sign. You see him with the cross? He's got a white hoodie with a cross around his neck, a giant crucifix, and he's the guy that DeVrom talked to who said Jews.
I don't get it. If you think Jews control everything, like, don't you want Jews to control everything so they can have Israel and stuff? If you're a Christian, kind of seems like a phony Christian to me. Or maybe he's a Catholic. I don't know. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. If you're like riding for Christianity, who do you think are the biggest supporters of Israel? It's Christians. You know? It's odd. Bit of a fake evangelical, coming across like a fake evangelical to me.
Control everything.
Right.
You think Jews control the country?
Yeah, they control the fucking country.
Oh, interesting.
They control Wall Street, they control the banks, they control Hollywood. Every fucking building in New York City is owned by Jews.
Hey,
They get so fucking close.
I'm Jewish.
I don't give a fuck.
Hey, you gotta get out of
I ain't
here.
going no
I control everything. You gotta go.
I'm not going no fucking way.
You gotta go. I'm Jewish. But I control everything.
No,
So
you don't control
you
me,
gotta
fucker.
go. You gotta go.
Movement.
I'm just saying So there you have it.
is
Jews
going.
control everything.
Oh my God, he proved his point. He proved his point. What the fuck?
able to clear the square there. I just commanded him to leave, and he left.
Well, it's true what they say. Jews control everything. DeVrom's a Jew, and
that's crazy.
Took care of that.
Yep.
In his defense, DeVrom,
I did control him.
You did control
right
him,
after.
and you are Jewish.
And that was. I'm not gonna say my bad. I don't regret it, but it was unfortunate to confirm some of his stereotypes.
Right.
It was an unfortunate moment, but he did clear the area, and so as a Jew, I was grateful for that.
Yeah.
Wait, you think that guy genuinely was afraid? Like because it's such a stupid idea. I sometimes forget that like some people are sincere in their beliefs. So it is so far beyond anything that I can recognize internally that I always immediately think, oh, it's a cynical grifter just saying this. And I forget that like, oh no, like he might legitimately think this Jewish man does actually exert some sense of authority over him, where in a weird way, his like anti-Semitism causes him to like be genuinely afraid. That's kind of funny as fuck. Like he's a real one. He is a real one. He's like, no, you are Jewish. I am scared, actually. Please do not show me your tail and horns. I will leave. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Exercising my power.
With great power comes great responsibility,
Yep.
though. And I also see that you haven't used your power to get everybody else out of here. You believe in free speech and things like that.
I believe in free speech. Also, I want to see what happens, right? It's a little boring to just snap my fingers and clear the area. So we're gonna wait on that.
All right, so we're here in the section of the park that has all the Trump supporters in. Most of the people here are media or trolls who are
Right.
just here
Or people who live or work
just
in
here
the
to
area
prank people.
and thought, this is weird. I'll check it out.
Right over here is the Jews Control Everything guy. He's the guy DeVrom talked to a couple, I guess it was a year ago.
Jews versus TikTok.
What?
I don't know if the Jews are winning or not. I don't know what the implication of that sign is.
You don't get like a scorecard every night on what's going on with your.
It's like it goes to
people?
spam.
Oh, it goes to spam.
To spam.
Okay.
So I will check on that. I don't know if the Jews versus TikTok. Who's.
It's funny to I am not Googling that. Yeah, no. It is funny to think that like this guy is so stupid. Again, I assume this fucking freak anti-Semitic psycho thinks that like the ADL represents the Jewish interest. But it is funny that he's like leading people astray, even though internally his goal is to like educate the public. But he ends up like misinforming people. I'm not a fan of the double-sided sign. I think you get only one side and that's it. I agree. It's because most TikTokers are pro-Palestine. That's probably his thought process. Yeah, which is funny because, like, who do you think half of the fucking pro-Palestinian advocates are on there? What background do you think they are? It's Jewish Zoomers as well as every other kind of fucking Zoomer. This guy was not anti-Semite of the week, by the way. Yeah, well, you know, obviously, Stop Anti-Semitism has more important things to fight against, which is me being anti-Semite of the week.
Who's winning there? So,
what's the sign say here? What's the sign say here?
Jews versus TikTok.
Bro, you have a cross that big, it's over. Okay? You have a cross that big is so Jover.
Camera here. Jews versus TikTok. What does that mean?
Jewish groups are trying to get TikTok banned, and they're using Congress to do it under a false pretense.
You think Jewish people are just getting rid of TikTok? Really?
Doing their best. Look it up. They admit it. The
ADL. TikTok's gone. It's off the App Store.
Well, that's what you guys want.
Jewish.
That's what you guys want.
Feels good.
So,
all right, there you have it. Jews really do control everything. Some Trump supporters with very big flags, but for every single Trump supporter, there's probably about 3 people from the media there. So it's a pretty exciting scene. The last time we were here, there was a woman, I guess it was right when he came in to be arraigned, there was a woman who was trying to stomp up.
Once again, I must repeat something very important, which is that the largest group of donors to AIPAC, the thing that this guy thinks is like representing Jewish interests, are not actually Jewish Americans. They're Christians, which is why I find it always so strange when someone who's rocking that fat ass fucking cross is just like, yeah, that's right. Jews want to ban TikTok. Look it up. It's like, really? I can't believe how many Jewish people are in an evangelical church in Dallas, Texas. You'd be shocked. The cross passes the fit check. Yeah, he's opium, actually.
On an anti-Trump flag,
right?
And then she fell over. I think it was right here.
Fell over it.
She fell over. Are you okay? I saw a video. You fell down.
Baby? Are you okay?
You fell on the ground.
Don't talk about Christian, you pig. Wait, why? I mean, I don't think that like televangelists in the South represent Christianity, but if you're gonna get butthurt about them and think that they do represent Christianity well, then oops, cry about it, I guess.
Right?
I think I fell, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you okay? Are you okay? That's a nasty tumble.
Yeah, it was a moment in which she was showing her support, but she didn't have enough support of her own.
Very well
tumbled
said.
Down.
Yeah.
But some people don't know what this trial is actually about. People are calling it Stormy Daniels hush money. That's true. But also, there was a story about another affair. There was a story about Donald Trump potentially having fathered a child with someone who worked at Trump Tower.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. In the catch and kills for the National Enquirer.
That's right. Yeah. So it was about paying to stop stories from getting out, and then hiding those payments from the authorities.
Right, because it was a campaign payment.
Right. So people are saying, trying to kind of reclassify this to people as an election interference case. But it seems more like you should be able to pay people off before an election case.
Trying to see with the circus here?
Oh, man, this is fantastic.
You're excited about today?
Oh, extremely.
Why?
I just think it's, it's good for the country to see a
Great question,
spectacle
Summer
like this.
Breeze. Why is it so far-fetched to believe Jews control everything based on everything that's going on with the war and people being canceled and losing everything merely on criticizing Jews or Israel? Well, let me tell you, as anti-Semite of the week, let me explain to you why that is an incredibly stupid fucking idea. Okay? Support for Israel is not about support for Judaism. Israel does not represent the interests of Jews. As a matter of fact, Jewish support in the United States of America for Palestinians actually is nearly identical to the rest of the country. Once you go under the age of 35, support for Palestinians amongst the Jewish population in the United States of America is also aligned with the rest of the country. The percentages are nearly identical. There are many Jews in this chat, as a matter of fact, who are socialist and anti-Zionists. Okay? As the award winner for Anti-Semite of the Week, let me explain to you some facts. America's interest in Israel is not about Judaism at all, or Jewish people at all. America's interest in Israel is that Israel is a forward operating base or an unsinkable aircraft carrier for United States interests in a region that is very resource rich. Okay? If Israel was built as a settler colonial state that was comprised not of Jews, but of, I don't know, Christians, they would be supporting it all the same. Maybe even more than they support Israel, even though, I mean, it's pretty hard to support Israel more than they currently do. As far as support for Israel goes, there are significantly more people, 10x more people in this country that unconditionally offer support to Israel and fund Israeli settlement initiatives in the South amongst evangelical Protestants due to their own understanding of theology, okay? Due to their own understanding of theology that if the chosen sons and daughters of God control Israel, the holy land for them, then Jesus Christ is going to come back to earth. The rapture is going to happen. He is going to duke it out with the devil in Megiddo. That psychopathic anime-style theological understanding of the rapture happening and the second coming of Jesus Christ happening is the major underpinning and the major reason for why there is more support for Israel amongst evangelical Protestants in this country than there is amongst American Jews. Now, you might not know this, but Jewish people, there are not that many of them for multiple reasons, one of which being that Judaism does not proselytize or evangelize in the same way that Islam and definitely Christianity does. And then also, obviously, the Holocaust and, centuries of pogroms that Jewish people have withstood kind of played a big role in cutting the numbers down. Okay? So obviously, Jewish people, even if they wanted to, could not really mount a serious support for Israel in the same way that American Christians can. I don't understand how you're writing a paper and this was your basis, by the way. Holy shit. I'm glad that you didn't write the paper with this attitude, because I think your teacher would probably be very correct in stating that you are anti-Semitic. This is a very anti-Semitic tendency that you should move away from. That the fact that Jews control the world or whatever is definitely, Nazi propaganda. And was Nazi propaganda. Yeah, he's writing a paper. He's writing Mein Kampf too. It's on the state itself, not that they control everything. Wait, what do you mean? Oh, well, Jewish people, don't control everything. That's not correct at all. Also, one really important part of this process that you're forgetting is that is monolithic thinking. I don't know if you know this, but Jewish people are not a monolith. Like, they're not operating on a single hive mind. That's not a thing. They're just normal human beings, just like you and I. In the words of John McCain, they're not Arab, they're good people. They're good. Okay, anyway. All right. John McCain did say that about Barack Obama once. Okay. Gotta ban you, weirdo. Oh, you're anti-Semitic. The Week article has 0 likes. Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. So now that we established that the American foreign policy interest in Israel has nothing to do with Judaism and everything to do with America's interest in the region, I hope you understand that unconditional support to Israel has nothing to do with Jewish people as a whole. American support for Israeli activities also doesn't necessarily come from American Jews as much as it comes from American evangelical Protestant Christians. Okay? Just something to remember. Now, this doesn't mean that there aren't ultra-Zionist Jewish people in positions of power. Of course there are. But they are not the movement builders here. The overarching interest of America, the American State Department, that is the major factor. If tomorrow, every single Jewish ultra-Zionist, ultra-nationalist person decided magically to no longer be in support of Israel, do you think that America would stop defending Israel? That is the question you must ask yourself. Because if you truly believe that, well, then you're a silly person. Okay? That would not stop America from defending Israel. If every single American Jew that was in a position of power that went from being ultra-Zionist to anti-Zionist tomorrow, do you really think America will stop defending Israel? Because they would not. Jewish people are not a monolithic culture like all religious, cultural, and political groups, but you do use they for groups you don't like. Explain to me what groups I don't like very quickly. And you can't say Christian because I defend those of the Christian faith as well, but I do talk about hogs. Go ahead. Unless you mean conservatives. Ooh, interesting. Conservatism. A mindset. An attitude. A way of thinking. Is it a way of existence? No, I don't think so. As a matter of fact, if it was a way of existence, I would be the #1 genocider of conservatives because there is a shit ton of people who used to be conservative who are no longer not conservative. So am I actually killing conservatives when I change their minds? Is that what's going on? Or are they no longer becoming conservative? Do you think conservatism is a race? Or do you think it's a way of thinking that I think is bad? Okay, we'll continue. Well, I'm going to table this discussion, but let's move on.
You know, it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing. We're in a free society, and we can.
What is happening with the fucking audio levels on this goddamn video? They go up and down so crazy.
All the news coverage just shows that we're the freest place in America.
I'm sensing a little sarcasm from you.
Maybe a little.
Are you upset about the trial?
I'm not happy about it. I don't think it should have ever happened.
Why is that?
Because I think it's all made up. Trumped up, no pun intended.
In what part? Yeah.
Alvin Bragg, that part.
He's not real?
He's not a real person? Or?
I think he's doing this totally for political purposes.
He's being indicted on a misdemeanor that's past the statute of limitations, but Fat Alvin Bragg.
What'd you call him?
I was not expecting that guy to give me that take, by the way. Damn, bro, this dude literally was like, I think I just broke him. I think he's changing his username from Can't Be Swayed to I Am Now Swayed. Because I feel like I feel like he's no longer conservative. Like he just had his mind broken here. Another day, another conservative genocided who is no longer conservative and now reformed. His account was created 30 minutes ago. He's struggling. Yeah, well, it's crazy. They can be swayed, actually, it turns out. I'm going to assume that he was swayed.
Fat Alvin Bragg.
FAT?
Yes.
Why are you calling him that?
Well, he is, isn't he?
What would you call Santa, though, if you had to describe Santa?
You're interrupting.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You asked.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I have a little bit of trouble with the optics of it. I think people are not going to love that this feels like these, especially the moments that are in question, are kind of private moments. They're affairs, or whether or not he's the father of a child. If they had been shady business dealings, exactly. So it's easy for supporters to write it off like it would be any other of his tax violations or his. But it seems like a relatively small financial crime. I don't think it is, but I think that's what it's going to look like. And I think it's the only one that's going to actually affect whether or not he's convicted of anything before the election. So I think it's not a strong one to lead with, in my opinion.
Well, there are some people, like we said before, there's like protesters here for Donald Trump. And a couple minutes ago, Laura Loomer and some of her friends, the super friends of Laura Loomer,
the loud
super friends
group,
they were giving a press conference, which was her yelling in a bullhorn and then other people.
I was going to say, that's a press conference nowadays?
I
Things
guess
have
so.
changed.
Yeah.
It's just the lady with the bullhorn screaming so loud.
Now the Jews control everything, guys. Giving a press conference over here. The media's all around him trying to see what he has to say. But they were giving a press conference, and then Andrew Giuliani was there, and you were kind of getting a little annoyed by like how loud everything was.
I wanted him to hush a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? And I realized I looked in my pocket. I had a few bucks.
Yeah, nice.
I had a few dollars. So I figured I would give him a hush payment.
Soros funded district attorney in order to bring this case.
Excuse me.
There's no underlying felony.
I'm going to give you $5 here. It's a hush. It's a hush money payment.
Here's the deal.
If you can just leave.
Here's the deal, my friend. That has nothing to do with it, my friend.
you go.
What's the idea?
Yeah, I'm giving you hush money. Hush money. Everyone got mad. They screamed more. So hush payments aren't as effective as you want them to be. But I'm still going to keep sending money his way, and hopefully he'll take it. Just get the heck out of here.
Well, I don't know that the hush money payment works with him, because I went up and interviewed him after. I didn't realize who I was talking to.
Right.
And I asked him his name. I mean, we could show the video, but I asked him his name, and then I realized, oh my God, Giuliani, that's the same last name as the guy who did Four Seasons
Total. You put that together.
Right in the moment.
Following this stuff pretty closely, and that name was like ding, ding, ding. You remembered it in the moment.
Do you mind if I just get your first and last name?
Sure. Who are you guys with?
We're Jason Selva with TGL here.
TGL, okay. Andrew Giuliani.
Andrew Giuliani?
Yes.
Giuliani, that's the last name of the guy who's at Total Landscaping, right? Four Seasons, Total Landscaping.
Former mayor. New York. Yeah, America's mayor. That's right. Yeah.
The guy who...
Oh my God, he kind of sounds like him. Former mayor. Oh, dude, that's crazy. They found his son, dude. How are they so... Bro, I'm not big into eugenics, but goddamn, this bloodline has to end at him. Why are they so ghoulish? Why do they look so freakish, dude? The new variant is also just as ghoulish as the old one. Somehow even more ghoulish. Oh my God, he did date his cousin. Is that why?
Who was on national television sweating hair dye?
We're gonna keep going. Hey, would you do me a favor? Would you record this interview? You got it. Awesome.
Please
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah.
So your father was the guy who was sweating hair dye on
funny guy. So you like seeing our country just fall apart? Is that what you like there, funny guy?
I'm asking you a question. Could you just give me?
He's like, yeah, come on, I'm gonna fucking own you now. That's right, TGL. I love when they always ask, like, what outlet are you from? To just, like, make a quick snapshot judgment on, like, whether they're woke or not. It's awesome.
Give me yes or no. Was your dad...
I'm asking you a question. You like seeing our country fall apart, yes or no?
Was your dad...
You like seeing our country fall apart the way it is?
Was your
Do
dad...
you like what's going on at the... have you been up to the Roosevelt Hotel recently? Have you seen that there, buddy?
I'm just wondering why you can't answer... You can't answer one simple
Why can't you answer the
question?
question?
I asked you a simple question.
You got to deal with the New York question. You can't deal with it.
I asked you a simple question.
Is that the deal? You can't
Was your father the guy who was sweating hair dye?
I asked you a question. Do you like seeing our country fall apart? And you can't answer.
All right, so that was the guy whose dad was sweating hair dye while spreading election lies after the 2020 election. He couldn't answer a simple question, yes or no question. And that's just the state of America right now. Some people, they want to be in positions of leadership, but they can't answer a yes or no question. I think that's why this country's in the shape that it is right now. He would not give a yes or no answer to that question. He was evading it.
So as a journalist, do you think the answer was yes or no? I know you don't want to add your editorialize here too much.
I think that their facts matter, and like this is a yes or no situation. Like, yes, Rudy Giuliani did sweat hair dye after the 2020 election.
When you say there's no evidence.
But he would not.
Yes, he didn't intend to book the Four Seasons.
I wish they did more with that guy. Him and his dad. Oh, you know that kid was busted, dude, from the jump. You see a kid with that haircut looking like that, you already know. His future prospects were cut short from the jump, you know? It's not his fault.
Resort. Yes. Ended up booking the Four Seasons Total Landscaping. Of course, that was right next to a porn shop and a crematorium.
Yeah.
I don't think that could have been intentional, although it was maybe the best thing to ever happen.
Definitely the best thing that ever happened in the state of Pennsylvania. I don't know, like ever, but definitely in the state of Pennsylvania.
Right.
And certainly in the city of Philadelphia. That's for sure.
Is there more?
So those.
All right. Well, that's the Good Liars chat. Yo, that was the owner of the Raiders. That's a funny deep cut, football related, but you are right. He does look like him. MTG enjoying her boyfriend's hogwatch.
You can walk anywhere. You see stores for rent.
That is right. Brian Glenn is Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend. This is true.
Stores for rent. This used to be a vibrant city. And it's not just business-wise. It's because of crime. As a New Yorker, I loved going late at night to a 24-hour diner. They said New York's the city that never sleeps. It sleeps now. The diner that was 24 hours closes at 10:30 or midnight, and that's it. It's because of crime, and it's because of the economy. New York's not the same city. Democrats have ruined it, and New Yorkers should know that and vote for Trump because he could save.
That's so crazy. Everybody's always talking about like how much crime is happening in the state of New York or in the city of New York. And you look at the actual crime rates in New York, and they are historically low. Okay? Like crime, specifically murder, for example. People were like, oh, murder is up. Murder is down 25% this year. 25%. What the fuck are these dudes talking about? Was there an ivermectin ad on that thing? Oh my God, they're still selling ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. That's awesome. That Shelman guy who does all the languages entered his grifter state, posting a video how terrible New York is, how crime-riddled it is. Yeah, it's just very odd. Because here is Axios. New, in an election year, the U.S. is on track to see the lowest levels of violent crimes and homicides since President Obama was in office. Murders declined by nearly 20% in 204 cities during the first 3 months. What the fuck are people talking about? What are people talking about? Philly has a progressive prosecutor the Democratic Party tried to destroy. Whoops. Yeah, dude. It seems like, oh, that's why crime is down, because the progressive prosecutor is not prosecuting. That's why. Is the talking point true that they changed the definition of these crimes? Okay, let me ask you something really important here, okay? You're somewhat of a critical thinker, I suspect. Do you think they changed the crime of murder? Like, do you think anyone around the country... No, I know you're not disagreeing. I know. I'm just asking you to think critically. When someone goes, yeah, dude, they actually changed. They actually changed the way that they define what, you might ask? The answer to that question is murder. Do you think they changed? Do you think they just changed the definition of murder? Like when a person dies, okay, when a person is murdered nowadays, like woke liberal DAs. No, I don't, but I see hogs in the replies. Oh, tweets showing these? No, I know, because they're fucking hogs, dude. They're very stupid. They're not. Me and the tankies love murder. We pressed the DA into changing the definition. Me when I got the DA to change the definition of murder. Yeah, they're calling it unalivings now. So they just don't know. Yeah, nobody understands that it's actually called unaliving, which is up by 10,000%. Yeah. Where they made it legal for black people to murder white people. That's why the rate is down. Woke DAs did that. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, because of woke, they did this. Blue cities, oh, this guy's awesome. Blue cities that have the most murders have simply stopped reporting to the FBI. How do you not know this? So wait, are you saying that blue city cops are no longer like cops in blue cities who are still Republicans and therefore good, right? They're just also no longer doing this? Like they're just not reporting the murders? What are they saying? The woke mob defunded the police? Oh, so they're just not. The police are no longer reporting on murders. Got it. Sorry if that comes off as totally ignorant. I understand that ban, but may I ask, what is a hog? A pig, a porky pig, one that squeals. I like to call conservatives hogs, and I like to call watching conservatives, which is one of my favorite things to do of all time because they are just a sea of content. Hogwatch. Anyway, the crime in New York City is more expensive, so unrest is growing, which means more costs to protect wealth. No one even hops the turnstiles anymore because it's too risky. When I tried to tell my dad that the police were never actually defunded, he looked at me like I was a complete fucking idiot, as if I was saying the sky isn't blue. Well, you have liberal media to thank for that. Because if the liberal media is alongside the Republican hog media, conservative media, is openly stating that, you know, police are being defunded due to radical leftists or whatever the fuck, and that crime is up because the police have, why is being conservative a bad thing? Why is being conservative a bad thing? Just curious. Oh, I love Just Curious. Andy's like this. Well, I think being progressive is a good thing. And I think anyone that wants to take away people's civil liberties, anyone that wants to make the police more militant, anyone that wants to, I don't know, keep spending our tax dollars on bombs rather than rebuilding our infrastructure, you know, anyone that thinks that gay people are immoral and degenerate, queer people are degenerate and should not exist, and we need to violently suppress them, is bad. That's what I think. It's because I'm a new here. Yeah, that sounds fuck, lol. Well, there you go. That was quick return on that one. That was awesome. Another one saved from the throes of conservatism. Dude, that's two today. 2 dubs back to back. Maybe that guy was actually curious. Another one to add to the conservative genocide count. That was a potential conservative, so it doesn't count. It's nice to see you have a day where it doesn't seem like you hate streaming. No, I love streaming. I wouldn't do it if I hated it. You know what I mean? Please stop. Victims of communism number is growing. Yep. Are we facing World War III? What is your opinion? As I've reiterated over the course of the past couple of days, it is entirely in the hands of Israel. How Israel retaliates to the original Iranian retaliation is going to be determinative of whether or not we go into World War III or not. The ball is in Israel's court. Oh, this was a fun little soundbite from Margarine Titan Green.
Like Laken Riley?
Oh my God.
You're familiar with her, right?
Congressman Art Briggs.
Are you familiar with Laken Riley?
I am familiar with the case.
You should have deported her so that she could be alive today. Her parents.
Damn. She's out here wanting to deport American citizens to save them from the throes of American murder. She's saying, that's crazy. She's saying that immigrant murders are so bad that we have to deport Americans to save them from being killed by undocumented immigrants. You guys don't understand. Yeah, this is nothing, by the way. The sanctions don't mean
Parents
shit.
would have appreciated that.
That's so fucking base. That's some sick shit. Yeah, dude. Breaking. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. In the coming days, the U.S. will impose new sanctions targeting Iran, including its missile and drone program, as well as new sanctions against entities supporting the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and Iran's defense ministry. We anticipate that our allies and our partners will soon be following with their own sanctions. Okay. No. No, dude. This will do it. Guys, this will do it. Okay, you don't understand. It's gonna this time, any day now. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. We continue to work through the Department of Defense and U.S. Central Command to further strengthen and expand any successful integration of air and missile defense and early warning systems across the Middle East to further erode the effectiveness of Iran's missile and UAV capabilities. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. These new sanctions and other measures will continue a steady drumbeat of pressure to contain and degrade Iran's military capacity. Bro, dude. Isn't this like you coming out and being like, we got to put more sanctions on Iran, a direct demonstration that like the previous sanctions didn't work at all? No, but seriously. Because like they launched 500 fucking drones and missiles from Iran to Israel like 2 days ago. They did that. Didn't we already have sanctions on Iran? What the fuck are you saying? Oh, fuck. We just didn't realize that this was the one sanction that we hadn't done. Dude, this time it's different. Yeah, sanctions too. Sanction harder. Sanctions too. This time we mean business. It seems like if they had worked, I'm no big city lawyer. I'm no human rights lawyer. Okay? But it does kind of feel like the former sanctions regime that we had implemented on Iran is demonstrably a failure if we now have to do more sanctions on Iran because they still fucking lobbed a shit ton of munitions in Israel's direction. What the fuck? White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. These new sanctions and other measures will continue a steady drumbeat of pressure to contain and degrade Iran's military capacity and effectiveness and confront the full range of its problematic behaviors. Yeah. They must know that too, right? I don't know. Breaking. Google workers are staging citizen protests over the company's $1.2 billion contract with the Israeli government, per Wired. That's awesome. Chatters have been coming in here all day trying to send me the link to watch the live stream, but that's great. Full support to the Google workers. I don't think that, conservatism. Oh, he's back. Conservatism isn't a set of ideas. It is a natural proclivity that affects how a person views the world. You think conservatism is natural? Like it's just a natural condition of human existence? That's fucking awesome. So you do think that I'm genociding conservatives when they no longer are conservative. Like, I changed a bunch of people's minds in this community that used to be conservative formerly. Do you think that I just like went against nature? Bro, it took him 45 minutes to come back with this retort. Yeah, I was born into thinking, let's bomb the Middle East for oil. I was cooking, dude. Yeah, you cooked too hard, brother. You should have cooked a better take, I think. You should go back to the kitchen, bitch. Fucking Cook harder, bitch. You ain't fucking cooking hard enough. My man really thought he cooked. Goddamn. Should have added more seasoning. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I was born naturally conservative, baby.
Right.
All right, let's do let's talk about I don't know what the stab Sidney Bishop is a TikTok star beloved by his community. I don't know what the fuck happened. Why are people stabbing people in Sydney like nonstop? What the hell's going on? Figure it out, Sydney. They're trying to be London so bad, dude. That's all I got. I don't have anything else for that. UK tendencies. They acting out since you left. Yeah. Hassan, do you think there are any FBI CIA agents watching your stream / shorts on YouTube for fun? Maybe not for fun. Oh, let's talk about this. Chef Nosaj, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. USC announced that the valedictorian Asna Tabassum's commencement speech has been canceled, stating that it was necessary to maintain the safety of our campus and students. I'm surprised that my own university has abandoned me, Tabassum said in a statement. She did an interview with the Huffington Post. Oh, let's go. Wait, please tell me it's filmed. Oh, no, it's not. God damn it. The university said Asna Tabassum's commencement speech would be canceled due to security and safety risks. Earlier this month, USC announced that Asna Tabassum would be the class's 2024 valedictorian with a 3.98 GPA in recognition of her community service and leadership skills. She's graduating in a major in biomedical engineering and a minor in resistance to genocide. What the fuck? That's a real minor? But on Monday, USC canceled the speech. Yo, what is happening in our woke-ass schools, bro? What the hell is that? Woke-ass school, bro. Fucking resisting the genocide. I can't tell if that's a joke or not. Is that like an actual... What do you expect it to be called? The pro-genocide minor? No, I expect it to be called genocide studies or something. It's basically genocide studies. I have a friend also at USC. He said it's basically like history and science of genocide. Oh. Yeah, resistance to genocide, interdisciplinary minor. Dude, honestly, they probably did change this. For the record, they changed it. It seems like such liberal aesthetic shit. Like, it does seem like, I mean, I'm not going to have a hang up over this. Who gives a fuck what it's called, obviously. But it is pretty funny. It is pretty funny that they probably, I assume they might have changed it like in the last 10 fucking years or something. Oh yeah, since 2018. Yeah, that makes sense. Fun fact, USC provided security and allowed Ben Shapiro to speak on campus in 2018, but this time cites safety as an excuse for the valedictorian's pulled speech. Yeah. But that in and of itself, paired up with the fact that the school did offer support and security to Ben Shapiro, and the fact that they actually canceled the valedictorian speech, while, you know, the valedictorian has a resistance to genocide as a minor, is the perfect representation of liberal aestheticism and like where the fucking line is drawn. Okay. If you even remotely actually resist genocide with your words, okay, then sorry, we can't have that. It's too much of a security concern. That's awesome. Like, we'll clean up the aesthetics and we'll be like, oh, we can't say genocide studies. We have to call it resistance to genocide now. But turns out, if you actually do resist an ongoing genocide, if you want to lend support to those who are being genocided, well, we can't really defend you. Sorry. It's fucking bullshit. Okay? It is bullshit. And it is also a perfect demonstration of liberalism and basically where that buck stops. Okay? It's awesome. Love that shit. In an announcement dated Monday, Provost Andrew Guzman said the intensity of feelings fueled by both social media and ongoing conflict in the Middle East has created substantial risk relating to security and disruption of the commencement. After careful consideration, we decided that our student valedictorian will not deliver a speech at commencement. Yeah, well, you can't be a hijabi. Sorry. Since this round of the Gaza conflict started, it's been very apparent how all the post-colonial Andes on academia have suddenly become very quiet. The school did not elaborate further and did not respond to a request for comment. Tabassum, in an interview with HuffPost, questioned the university's reasoning and told HuffPost she felt disappointed and let down by USC. I'm surprised that my own university, my home for 4 years, has abandoned me. In a statement published on Monday, Tabassum said that she was not aware of any specific threats against her or the university, and that during the meeting last Sunday, administrators told her that the university had the resources to take appropriate safety measures for my valedictory speech. But they would not be doing so since increased security protections is not what the university wants to present as an image. Security and safety is also my concern. That's consistent with my commitment to human equality and human rights. I don't think they're mutually exclusive at all, Tabassum told Huffington Post. She noted that notable figures, including former President Barack Obama, rap star Travis Scott, and right-wing speaker Milo Yiannopoulos, had all been able to visit campus grounds. That's great. I'm going to tweet about this. Hold on. Not very good examples, though. Milo Yiannopoulos is a great example. What the fuck do you mean? Let's find out when USC changed its name to Resistance to Genocide Studies. I want to lock this down. Can we figure that out? Someone said 2018, but new USC Center to Analyze Advanced Genocide Research. The Center for Advanced Genocide Research aims to study how and why mass violence occurs. The Center of Advanced Genocide Research will focus on interdisciplinary study organized around three themes. Resistance to genocide and mass violence will center on acts of resistance and elements of defiance. Digital genocide studies. Genocide scholars are a thing, so what's wrong with this? No, you don't understand. My point is about the aesthetics of liberalism, where they actually will be careful and deliberate enough in fixing the language so that they will be so careful and so considerate that they'll make sure to call the minor or the major, like the name of the studies, resistance to genocide studies, instead of what is normally known in academia as just like genocide studies, right? I'm pointing out the contradiction in liberalism, which is that they care more about the aesthetics of a certain thing, so much so that they'll clean up the language. But when it comes down to actual genocide happening, and a valedictorian who may or may not, resist that sort of thing. I asked ChatGPT, it said 2018. Yeah, that's dumb as fuck. ChatGPT lies all the time. Why the fuck would it know? Someone claimed that without proof, but here you see it was already called resistance to genocide in 2014, exactly when it first started. The point that I'm trying to make is that
whether or not
liberalism loves adorning the aesthetics of radicalism, they love adorning itself in the, they love masquerading as like emancipatory politics when it's anything but. Okay, it is simply a hallucination. It's simply a mirage. It's a lie. That's it.
Whether or not I planned to speak about Palestine, speak about any sort of conflict in general, I think is besides the point. The point here is that the university preemptively made a decision not on the basis of safety, but on the basis of potentially other factors that I think impedes on my freedom of expression.
Yeah. I don't see it simply as an aesthetics issue. The name is important. If it wasn't then, they would have just kept it the same as everyone else and subscribed to a new ideal, just like they don't How did I get double debated at the same fucking time? How? How did I get double debated at the same time? You guys are so horny, dude. Stop. Fuck. Oh my God, bro. Literally everyone chomping at the bit to be like, yo, I'm going to be the motherfucker that shows him what's what. God damn, son. God damn. I just got DP'd for sure. Don't get DP'd by the top of the hour ad break, which is 3 minutes long, by subscribing for $5 or for free. Jesus Christ. That's messed up. That should not be allowed, dude. That should not be allowed. That's fucked up. I completely agree with your take. However, any individual who may have advocated for the class's name change likely are not the same people responsible for the current situation. No, dude, I'm talking about those in positions of power and what they consider to be permissible and what they don't. How do you not understand that? They're fine with the name change because they want to be like open-minded and woke, but they're not fine with like actual resistance to genocide. That's the whole point that I'm making. This is not about the people who advocated to change the name or to make sure that the name was called resistance to genocide. How is this so hard to comprehend? It is about those in positions of power at the university being perfectly fine with the aesthetics of emancipatory radical politics, but not actually fine with even a simple demonstration, like a minor demonstration of radical emancipatory politics. Is the moral inconsistency. It is the contradiction at the heart of liberalism. That's it. Yeah, it is like the BLM I'm with her bomber plane meme in real life. Even the mere sight, even the mere potential of a demonstration was enough for USC, a school woke enough to fucking call it, resistance to genocide studies, to turn around and be like, nah, we're not doing that. Not going to fully tease out what all happened, that's all happened to me domestically right now, but hard to shake the feeling here and elsewhere that phony free speech maximalism may be over in elite circles. It was never coherent or tenable, and it served its purpose and can be put away. Yeah. I mean, exactly. There is no free speech maximalism. There never was one. It only has historically existed for moving the needle right. Okay? See this person's chat history. They can connect it with this girl if you want to interview her. Yeah, no, that would be great. Ironic Normie. Yeah, I would love to have her on the stream if she wants to come on the stream. USC was perfectly fine hosting the likes of Milo Yiannopoulos and Ben Shapiro, but of course they're own with a minor in resistance to own naming convention. ASU hosted Joe Arpaio the same month they canceled on Rashida Tlaib. Yeah, it's always how it works. USC was perfectly fine hosting the likes of Milo Yiannopoulos and Ben Shapiro, but of course their own valedictorian with a minor in resistance to genocide, USC's own naming convention for genocide studies, might be a bridge too far. Are Game of Frogs being fed later? Yes. This is how it always works. Free speech only works in one direction. Nobody fucking believes in the tenets of free speech. There are very few people. There are very, very, very few people who are like unconditional free speech maximalists, okay? The likes of Noam Chomsky and maybe Glenn Greenwald, right? I gave you two examples. One is a grifter, one is not. Doesn't matter. They both are genuine in their like free speech maximalist positions. And even then there's certain extents to free speech, obviously. But the whole point I'm trying to make is that in practice, colloquially, everybody loves talking about how much they love free speech, but never actually are on board with it. Free speech maximalism, a free speech maximalist position only works in whatever direction that you truly believe is worthy of extending this protection to. Okay? Bro, how the fuck do you use the words grifter and Chomsky in the same sentence? Come on, bro. No, I said Glenn Greenwald. I gave you an example of a grifter that is a genuine free speech maximalist, Glenn Greenwald, and I gave you an example of a genuine person who is a free speech maximalist, Noam Chomsky. I almost said Norm. Anyway, it's ridiculous. It's just, it only works in one direction. Free speech only works in one fucking direction. What is this? Auntie Piker had a moment. I would come home to a hot meal every single day, dishes washed, clean clothes, fresh linen, not a speck of dirt in the entire house ever. He owns me, and I do what he says because I'm his property. If he cheats, it's my fault, and I'm doing something wrong. Yes, expected. As expected. All right. Let's do the homelessness New York Times opinion piece.
Yes.
We're
Yeah,
here-
that's my name.
We're here in New York City.
Yeah, I came here in January.
So you sleep out here on the sidewalk?
I'm 60 years old. I worked 35 years. I'm a college graduate. I have no record. I have never been arrested or accused of anything. And I sleep on the sidewalk.
A growing number of Americans do not see homeless people as humans. They're a drug addict. They're a bum.
Homeless addicts and criminals have pretty much taken over Seattle.
And these are not the homeless people, frankly, that I grew up with. I mean, these are people who are hearing voices, are on drugs.
They just need to get a job. How do you get a job when you can't take a shower? My name is Mark Horvath. I had a great job in television, and then in 1995, I ended up homeless for 8 years. That inspired me to start interviewing homeless people in 2008, sharing their experiences on my YouTube channel. Is anybody out here helping you?
I've been on my own since the age of 15 years old. I don't know anybody.
Last year, roughly 650,000 people in America were homeless on any given night. I want you to see them how I see them.
Connie,
Yes.
you're homeless. Tell me about it.
The owner wanted possession of the property. They didn't have a 3-bedroom to accommodate me and my kids. We downgraded to a sleazy motel. I wasn't comfortable with that because of my children. And we downgraded to my van. I bounced from couch to couch for a while, and then I met this guy, and here I am.
People end up homeless for all kinds of reasons, but the leading cause of homelessness.
Oh, this guy's awesome. This is the Helsinki guy, right? This is the fucking same dude that went to Helsinki, right? Chat? Am I crazy? This guy's fucking dope. I'm glad that the New York Times is doing coverage like this. This is wild.
Is the lack of affordable housing.
I had 72 hours to get off the property, and I became homeless. I don't want to be out here. I don't have anywhere to go. 55 years old next January 5th. Speaking for myself personally, I don't have no family, and I have nowhere else to go. So I never thought I'd end up on Skid Row out here sleeping on docks and in back of businesses and everything, but that's what I guess I'm going to have to do. I don't know.
I worked for over 20 years with the United States Department of Defense as a classified contractor. Bought a home in North Carolina on a beautiful lake. 2.5 months later, my financial institution went bankrupt.
My master's degree is in adult education and training. If I had been paid commensurate to my credentials and my experience, I probably would not have been in a situation where I lost my apartment. I'm a single mom.
In the 15 years I've been interviewing homeless people, the biggest change.
Bro, fucking Masters, is that shocking to you? This is America, goddammit. It's called Bootstraps, chat. Look it up. This kind of stuff is really good to show people because most people think that, like, remember what I always talk about? The made up, kind of stupid, kind of reductive analysis that I always engage in where I tell you there's 3 different tiers of homelessness. Everybody only thinks about the worst version of homelessness when they think about homelessness. They don't think about the 40% of homeless people in California that are currently devoid of shelter but have a job. Okay? They don't think about the couch surfers. They don't think about people who are in the beginning stages of on their journey towards the absolute worst version of homelessness that you see. Someone who has been devoid of shelter for so many years. Someone who is self-medicated. By the way, those self-medicated and obviously like mentally unstable, brain-broken people were like those people that you're seeing. At some point, they were they still are full-blown human beings, but they had dreams. They had jobs. They had goals. They were children. You know what I mean? They grew up. They experienced traumatic things in their lives.
change that I have seen is the public and political push to criminalize homelessness.
It will soon be illegal for homeless people in Tennessee to camp in parks.
A new law in Missouri just took effect in the new year, making it illegal for homeless people to sleep on state land.
On Wednesday, Governor DeSantis signed a bill that bans people experiencing homelessness from sleeping and camping in public places.
And if you don't move,
then we get a ticket.
And how many tickets do you have?
Too many to count. I think in the past year and a half, it's like something like 30 that I've gotten.
30 tickets.
At $300 a pop.
Right. And for being homeless.
Yeah. For existing.
We cannot arrest our way out of homelessness. Just pushing people to a different city doesn't solve the problem. Many people are quick to assume homeless people are all on drugs, but the majority of people on the street do not have a substance use disorder. Some who do are really honest about it.
My problem is I'm addicted to heroin, so that's basically
You can't
why
stay
I
in a
can't go off the
shelter.
street. Which I basically gave everything up for heroin, you know. So if anyone ever asks what it's like to shoot heroin, it's probably the only thing that'll get a man to give up money, job, family, pussy.
I only met each person for a moment. I can't verify their backstory, but I can verify their homelessness. And by stigmatizing homelessness, we point the fingers at people on the street who cannot fix the affordable housing crisis.
I got blown out of New Orleans by Hurricane Ida. Then I moved up to Colorado.
Yeah, because that was some time ago, right?
Yeah, I was back there. That was the anniversary of Katrina, where I lost my wife at.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's been a trying decade.
Everybody just chalks it up to drug abuse or bad choices. And, sorry.
Like, even if it is fucking drug abuse, by the way, shouldn't we help those people? You know what I mean? Like, not every fucking homeless person needs to be a valedictorian, right? I mean, and this guy is not making that point at all, obviously. But it is good for liberals to see that, like, homeless people are not the most, like, the most visible aspect of homelessness that everybody sees and associates with. It's just that, like, these people need help. Get your rich buddies there to help them then. You're the most capable here. How does someone develop such a fucking idiotic perspective on this issue? Listen, dumb fuck. Individual actions will not solve systematic problems. Are you fucking stupid? You are so fucking dumb and selfish. You are selfishly abdicating your own advocacy. You are literally working for these fucking corporate interests for no goddamn reason to be like, yeah, there's no way to fix this. The only way to fix it is by getting rich people to fix it. It's idiotic. It doesn't work that way. You cannot solve the housing problem by getting a couple of my rich buddies to help. You want to know how? Because we fundraise in this community all the goddamn time on initiatives such as this one. I've donated to a shit ton of these initiatives. It hasn't helped. You want to know why? Because you can't fucking fix systematic failure when there's a new homeless person becoming homeless every fucking second in this goddamn country. Because it doesn't start with individual solutions. It is a systematic fucking failure. It is our housing policies. What? I slept in my car for 3 years while being full-time employed. I have 2 bachelor's degrees and I was working literally in my field of study. They don't pay lab work or shit. Student loans, rent, and eventually groceries on credit all piled up. Only reason I got back into an apartment is because I got lucky on a job hop. If I didn't get my new job, that would have probably been it for me. Homelessness pulls you down like concrete boots. Once you fall in, it's almost impossible to get out. Exactly. It's so crazy. People just like literally will look at the problem and refuse to understand it when they're staring at it And a guy who is the most knowledgeable on the issue, who's dedicated his life to trying to solve this problem, is telling you directly this is a systematic issue. This is an affordability crisis for housing. That's how people become homeless. And this guy's like, why don't you fix it, dumbass? Volunteer at Soup Kitchen, please, period. Our help will not stop private sector from buying houses and apartments and removing the tenants inside. Yes.
It's not always the case.
If anybody's listening, we just want a place to go.
Thank you very much for talking to me.
It is policy. Homelessness is a policy failure. That's what it is, simply put. There's no other reason for it. I hope that one day we look back at this moment in time with so much disdain that we could not comprehend how immoral we acted.
Damn, this guy's good.